For the second time in less than 6 years, Minneapolis is a powder keg that appears ready to explode after an ICE agent this afternoon shot and killed a woman who appeared to have been attempting to run him over with her car. This is a story that is about to dominate the entire world if it hasn't already. And here on the Dan O'Donnell Show, we will cover it from every angle. And if you would like to join us, 414-799-1130 is our AdventNews.com talk and text line. You can reach us toll free, 1-800-838-9476. Email me directly, dod@iheartmedia.com. We are up and streaming across social media at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, on Instagram, on Facebook, and our YouTube channel. Please do also subscribe to the Dan O'Donnell Show on iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to podcasts. Here's what we're following this afternoon. Tensions skyrocketing right now in Minneapolis. Flags are being burned. Heated confrontations with federal and state and local authorities as well after an ICE agent shot and killed a woman who, by all accounts, does look to have been trying to run him over with her vehicle. Video from KTSP TV shows this, but Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey in a press conference a few hours ago accused ICE agents of intentionally trying to kill people.
They are not here to cause safety in this city. What they are doing is not to provide safety in America. What they are doing is causing chaos and distrust. They're ripping families apart. They're sowing chaos on our streets. And in this case, quite literally killing people.
Truly one of the most shameful press conferences I think I ever had the misfortune of watching. We'll have complete details about this absolutely massive and still developing story in just a second. Coming up in the 4 o'clock hour, a major exclusive here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. A Milwaukee high school basketball coach jumped and beaten by a team that his team had just defeated on the court. He suffered a broken wrist, but are the attackers even being punished at all? You will not want to miss this. It's coming up right after the 4 o'clock news. Then at 5 p.m., another big exclusive. Of the 26 circuit court judges up for re-election across Wisconsin this spring, only a tiny handful have opponents. Even a judge in an overwhelmingly conservative community who posted vile things about Charlie Kirk's assassination this fall will run unopposed. It's a major problem for conservatives in this state, and we will dive into it coming up right after the 5 o'clock news. Right now, though, it is the absolute biggest story in the country, the ICE shooting in Minneapolis. According to a statement from the Department of Homeland Security late this morning, today, ICE officers in Minneapolis were conducting targeted operations when rioters began blocking ICE officers, and one of these violent rioters weaponized her vehicle, attempting to run over our law enforcement officers in an attempt to kill them, an act of domestic terrorism. An ICE officer, fearing for his life, the lives of his fellow law enforcement, and the safety of the public, fired defensive shots. He used his training and saved his own life and that of his fellow officers. The alleged perpetrator was hit and is deceased. The ICE officers who were hurt are expected to make full recoveries. This is the direct consequence of constant attacks and demonization of our officers by sanctuary politicians who fuel and encourage rampant assaults on our law enforcement, who are facing a 1,300% increase in assaults against them and an 8,000% increase in death threats. This is an evolving situation, and we will give the public more information as soon as it becomes available. That was tweeted out by DHS late this morning. Now, video from KTSP TV clearly shows that what the statement from DHS indicates is absolutely the case. Now, there was a witness video that was circulating across social media. When I say social media, primarily X, formerly Twitter, this is where news circulates at absolute lightning speed. Folks, I know I'm talking to a lot of you. A lot of you in this audience are a bit older. You're reticent to get on a site like X. You absolutely have to, because this is where news happens. And more importantly, now that X is once again a free speech platform, this is where the truth, this is where the unfiltered, factual account of what it is that goes on a daily basis is allowed to actually flourish. If it wasn't for X, we would not have an alternate angle from this shooting that shows very obviously the woman turning her steering wheel and attempting to strike an officer who is to the front and left of her vehicle. She is not attempting to drive away. What happened, as the DHS statement indicated, was that the ICE agents were sort of stuck in the snow and ice, even as we're getting a melt here in southeast Wisconsin. Minneapolis has been pounded by a whole lot of snow and ice. They were stuck in the snow. They were trying to get out. And of course, because of a couple of days ago, the announced surge of ICE agents and DHS troops going into Minneapolis to combat the massive Somali fraud, there have been people who have been organized and galvanized against them to show up and to confront them. Coming up later in the hour, we are going to talk about Democrats in Wisconsin attempting to do exactly this. I reported exclusively about a month and a half ago about Democrats using the Wisconsin Capitol to train these so-called ICE observers and give them tips on how to interfere with ongoing law enforcement investigations. The person who was shot and killed, who attempted to strike this ICE agent, was one of these so-called ICE observers. In fact, it's not even clear she was from Minneapolis. She may have come from across the country to try to interfere in ongoing law enforcement investigations. This is a massive problem. And as DHS said, this is the direct result of sanctuary state politicians and Democrats across the country fomenting what essentially amounts to an insurrection against law enforcement agents wherever they show up. So this alternate video, the video that was circulating, is very unclear. And it seems as though one of the other ICE agents opens fire as the woman is driving away. Well, what you can't see in this first video is that there's an ICE agent directly in front of her car. A second video that was released maybe 2.5 hours ago, after the lie, as Mark Twain famously said, got halfway around the world, the truth found in this second video barely had a chance to get its pants on. But thanks to X, thanks to the free speech that has been returned to the internet, now the alternate angles of this, and there are multiple videos of this shooting, multiple videos that clearly show. In fact, I've got one up at Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show, Instagram.com/Dan O'Donnell Show, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X. It is a super slow-mo video in which you can see the woman jerk the steering wheel in the direction of the driver, who is just off of the driver's side of the vehicle. Moreover, it is that officer who has a very real and very imminent fear that he is going to be struck by this vehicle, which is a deadly weapon. Folks, this, if you are going after a law enforcement agent, if you are driving at them in your car, that is an assault with a deadly weapon. They are absolutely authorized to use deadly force, and they have a split second to make that decision. As you can see in photographs, after you take a look at this slow-mo video, I want you to take a look at some of the photographs that are all over the internet of the windshield of this car. You can see bullet holes in the front of the windshield, meaning that the shots were fired by the agent, who did have a real and credible fear that he was going to be shot or that he was going to be run over. Here is what that video sounded like. All right, that second pow you hear, first you hear the 3 gunshots. 2 of those were fired by the first agent, the one who was very nearly run over. The third shot that I don't believe struck the suspect was fired by a second agent who is also authorized to use deadly force if he has a reasonable belief that one of his fellow agents or anyone else is in imminent risk of death or great bodily harm, which he clearly did. So the evidence, the video evidence that is available for all to see very obviously shows that this was a case of self-defense. What does Minneapolis's Mayor Jacob Frey get up and say in this press conference today? Well, that it was, quote, BS that this was a self-defense shooting.
They are already trying to spin this as an action of self-defense. Having seen the video of myself, I want to tell everybody directly, that is bullshit. This was an agent recklessly using power that resulted in somebody dying,
now
getting killed.
This is the mayor of Minneapolis. This is someone who rather obviously could prejudice an investigation or a potential criminal case that would arise from this. He has no idea. He saw one 5-second video from one angle, and he is making a judgment to demonize this ICE agent, and not just that, to demonize every single ICE agent that's in Minneapolis. And why is he doing so? Because he wants to grandstand, because he wants to seize on this issue, because he wants to, as Democrats have been doing since long before George Floyd, but certainly in a more heightened, aggressive manner in the George Floyd shooting, he wants to demonize law enforcement. He just assumes that law enforcement, especially ICE, the law enforcement agency du jour that every leftist in the country now reflexively hates, is somehow part of Donald Trump's murderous Gestapo. What you are about to hear, I cannot believe came from the mouth of a public official, even a radical Dem, a himbo, male bimbo, just like Jacob Frey. I still can't believe this came out of somebody, a supposedly responsible public official's mouth.
To ICE, get the fuck out of Minneapolis. We do not want you here. Your stated reason for being in this city is to create some kind of safety, and you are doing exactly the opposite. People are being hurt. Families are being ripped apart. Long-term Minneapolis residents that have contributed so greatly to our city, to our culture, to our economy are being terrorized, and now somebody is dead. That's on you. And it's also on you to leave.
Now, Frey did take questions from the press, and he was asked specifically, and this is very likely going to come back and bite him, because he was asked specifically, all right, there is information, Mayor Frey, that this was a self-defense case, that this woman attempted to run over this ICE agent with her car.
So, Mayor, she wasn't driving. She wasn't driving the car toward him, using her vehicle as a weapon.
That does not appear to be the case at all.
That absolutely does appear to be the case, 100%. There is no way to get around the facts as they have been initially presented. And this is what, folks, I really want to stress. I really want to stress this. If you do not see the video for yourself, if you do not consume all possible information about this case, if you simply allow yourself to believe whatever it is the TV says, or yes, whatever it is the radio host says, you are doing yourself a disservice. We used to exist in a world in which you might have been able to do that. You might have been able to trust somebody else to be a conduit for you to experience the world around you. You obviously weren't on that street in Minneapolis. None of us were. We depend, therefore, on journalists. We depend, therefore, on other people to be our eyes and ears on the ground. At one point in time, we might have been able to trust those people to give us an accurate picture of what it was that happened. We cannot have that anymore. You are seeing that right now in real time. And if you're wondering why journalism is one of the least trusted professions, it ranks somewhere between Congress and gonorrhea in popularity in this country. This is the reason why. Because you will have journalists swearing up and down. You will have two TV news anchors tonight across MSNBC or whatever the hell they're calling themselves now, and CNN and all of the nightly newscasts swearing up and down that this woman was shot for no reason, that these ICE agents are simply trying to kill law-abiding citizens, that this woman was just there to observe ICE, that she did not do anything that directly put those agents and put herself in imminent danger, and everybody else who was on that block. And by the way, if you watch these videos, you can hear these people screaming at the ICE agents to, like Jacob Fry, admonish them, get the bleep out of Minneapolis. Look what you did. You just killed this woman. It's shocking. Some of the video that's already emerging of these supposedly peaceful protests is absolutely insane. Not only do you have the typical U.S. flag burning, oh yes, there's been tons of that already this afternoon. You actually had one protester attempt to rip away, it was a pepper ball gun from an FBI agent, from I don't believe the National Guard has been deployed. I don't believe this was ICE. Some law enforcement agent. He's there keeping the peace. This guy tries to rip the gun out of his hand. Now, he has no idea what type of gun it is. If it's a gun that can kill somebody or badly injure them, of course, he gets pepper-balled right in the face. It's actually very satisfying to watch. But what you're seeing in real time is what I believe people like Tim Walz and people like Jacob Fry and people like Democrats and their allies in what used to be the objective press, but now is nothing more than the propaganda arm of the Democratic Party, what they all want. And that is a widespread rebellion against ICE, rebellion against Donald Trump. And the day after the high liberal holy day of January 6th, when you had every Democrat member of Congress getting out on the floor, out on the steps of the Capitol, for that ridiculous candlelight vigil, what you are seeing today, the day after, 12 hours later, is active incitement to rebellion against legitimate law enforcement operations. Tim Walz just concluded a press conference. We will hear from him, as well as the Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, when the Dan O'Donnell Show returns.
Intelligent discourse. Irreverent fun. The Dan O'Donnell Show will be right back.
I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com, because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, E-T-H-O-S, ethos.com/Mike.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-486-9600. That's 800-486-9600.
Hi, it's Jerry Bott. You know that feeling you get when you realize you're dealing with a company that cares about you, not just as a customer, but as a person? That's the overwhelming feeling I got when I bought my vehicle at Holiday Automotive in Fond du Lac. The Holiday staff was attentive, patient, totally engaged, and they listened. That inspires confidence, and confidence inspires trust.
Steer into the new year comfortably and confidently in a new Chevrolet, Buick, GMC, or a GM certified pre-owned model, and save during the New Year's sale at Holiday. Get here, get more for your trade, and stack our low simplified price with enticing offers like finance rates as low as 0%, plus beefy bonus and trade assist cash for thousands in savings on a new Sierra 1500 series truck from GMC. We are professional grade. Find yours and discover the difference during the New Year's sale at Holiday Automotive in Fond du Lac and at holidaygm.com.
it's worth the trip.
We're the Libby family
at Do-It-Yourself Bathroom Center near State Fair on 62nd and Greenfield.
If your bathroom needs work, we're the place to go.
Our people really know their stuff, and we install.
Plus, nobody beats our prices. Remember our slogan,
I did it myself at Do-It-Yourself.
Ever wonder what it takes to feel truly wealthy and financially comfortable? Schwab asked Americans that question, and most said at least $2 million. But here's the thing, your number might be different. And that makes sense because your dreams, travel, retirement, and the legacy you want to leave are unique to you. That's why you need advice that's just as personal. The team at Annex Wealth Management is ready to listen and help you build a plan that fits your life. Click the Get Started button at annexwealth.com.
Make News Talk 1130 WISN your number one preset on our free iHeartRadio app, powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call, that's all.
Folks, I wish this wasn't the case. I truly do. That there weren't people in power in this country who want American cities to burn, but after 6 years of living in a post-George Floyd world, after the Jacob Blake fiasco here in Wisconsin, and now the ICE shooting in Minneapolis, which potentially could set that city up in flames for the second time since June of 2020. When you hear people like the mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, talk, when you heard Mandela Barnes, the lieutenant governor at the time when Jacob Blake was shot in an absolutely justified, he was trying to kidnap his children, and in a very similar situation to what happened in Minneapolis today, trying to run over a police officer. He was armed with a curved blade knife, yet you still had our idiot lieutenant governor say this is not the first time that a black person in this state has been shot or mercilessly killed. You had the governor, Tony Evers, fanning the flames in a 10 p.m. press release saying this was an unjustified shooting, all but encouraging rioting. I have never before seen a press release come from Tony Evers after about 2:30 p.m. when, by all accounts, he settles down for his second of 3 daily naps. Let's go to Dirk in Franklin, up first on the phones here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. What's going on, Dirk?
Hey, Dan. Thank you for having me on this afternoon. A couple of things. One, we must be getting close to the source of the fraud because these political pawns, per se, are ramping up their agitation and effort. And it's disheartening to see the loss of life, but clearly they were interfering with an active investigation or operation to ultimately install integrity in the nation.
Yes. And Dirk, if I may very quickly, this is what I was talking about when I first broke this story. I believe it was in early December, maybe late November, when a couple of socialist members of the state legislature here in Wisconsin were using a room in the state capitol to hold an ICE responders training session. This woman was operating as a so-called ICE responder, or ICE Warner, or whatever the hell they're calling themselves. The idea here is that you interfere in these investigations. Well, when you have people in positions of power and authority in government telling people who hang on their every word and their every pronouncement to say, get involved, get in the way of law enforcement, put yourself in harm's way. These are potentially very dangerous situations. This is not doing anyone any good. I apologize, Dirk. Keep going.
And I want to leave with one last note, Dan, is a famous quote by Thomas Jefferson. Sometimes the tree of liberty must be shed the blood of both patriots and tyrants. Not that I'm condoning that.
Yeah, I'm not sure that quote applies here. I see what you're saying, though. What you're saying is not necessarily. It's not, hey, we're gonna rise up against the crazy people, but what it means is that liberty and the ability to be a sovereign nation. And part of the ability to be a sovereign nation is to be a nation that is governed by the rule of law. We don't have the rule of the mob. And whenever the mob doesn't like a law, or the mob doesn't like one of the enforcers of that law, the mob just sort of gets to substitute its own judgment. I have been talking for nearly a year now. In April, we're going to come up on the 1-year anniversary of one of the darkest days in the history of the Milwaukee judiciary, and that's where Hannah Dugan decided that her hatred of ICE superseded the rights of all Wisconsinites to be free from lawless, violent, illegal alien criminals. And she actually took the law into her own hands and shuttled this violent illegal out of her courtroom away from ICE. Now, she has, of course, been federally convicted, but it's this same mindset that infects people like this woman, this ICE observer in Minneapolis, who believes that she is somehow justified, that she's somehow a great American heroine for trying to protect people who, very many of them, have committed heinous, violent crimes, have been adjudicated by the law of the United States to no longer be allowed to live or to reside here in the United States, and they are marked for removal. Just by disagreeing with the idea that ICE can issue its own administrative warrants, that does not negate administrative warrants from ICE. Just believing that somehow ICE is an illegitimate agency of an illegitimate president, that does not negate it. What we are talking about here is the rule of the mob. We are not talking about any semblance of the rule of law. And what's so disgusting about this is you have leaders like Jacob Fry. You have leaders like Tim Walz, who just concluded a press conference a half hour ago. I do want to get to some of these sound bites, saying, don't get violent, but really, these are awful, terrible people. Do we have that Jacob Walz? You know what? We'll get that a little later. Here's Tim Walz, Jacob Fry, I should say. Jacob Fry saying, "Get the F out of our city. You're not here to promote safety. You're here to hurt people. You're here to kill people." Again, this is about the most irresponsible thing I have ever heard coming from a leader at any level of government in this country. Now, Tampon Tim perhaps has been a little humbled based on the fact that he was forced out of his re-election bid by the massive Somali fraud that brought these ICE agents to Minneapolis to begin with. He said, hey, let's protest peacefully. Notice he's not saying, hey, let's wait for the facts of this case to come out. He was prejudging this case already. Everybody, the official Democrat X account has already said an ICE agent killed a woman, killed an American citizen in cold blood. They are not allowing for any nuance. They are not allowing for any restraint. They are encouraging uprising, violent resistance. And I just find it hilarious. The day after every single Democratic member of Congress gathers on the Capitol steps in this maudlin display of a candlelight vigil singing "God Bless America" on the anniversary of their high holy day, January 6th, when we were told this was the worst insurrection in the history of this country. The very next day, they are saying, hey, ICE agents, ICE, you are not fomenting safety. You are killing people on the street. So here's Tim Walz saying, yeah, protest peacefully, but not because it's the right thing to do. Protest peacefully because if you don't, Trump will be able to declare martial law and he'll bring in even more of his brown shirts.
To Minnesotans, I say this. I feel your anger. I'm angry. They want a show. We can't give it to them. We cannot. If you protest and express your First Amendment rights, please do so peacefully as you always do. We can't give them what they want. The hearts and minds of the people in this state are on our side.
All right, Armin now has this Jacob Fry cut. And again, this is the mayor of a major metropolitan city.
They are not here to cause safety in this city. What What they are doing is not to provide safety in America. What they are doing is causing chaos and distrust. They're ripping families apart. They're sowing chaos on our streets. And in this case, quite literally killing people.
That's beyond. That is beyond shameful. Again, I say, imagine if I went on the radio every single day. I've got the biggest radio talk show in the state of Wisconsin. Imagine if I used it each and every day to say stuff like that. To say, I disagree with Josh Cole. I think Josh Cole is an awful attorney general. I think the way he has run the Department of Justice has been, frankly, a disgrace. I think he's thoroughly corrupt in the way he brought in a prosecutor in a quid pro quo with Michael Bloomberg's group, specifically so she could file lawsuits on behalf of Bloomberg's group using the power of the Wisconsin Department of Justice to do so. It's completely illegal. But imagine if I came out and said, Josh Cole's Department of Justice agents are literally killing people in the streets. They're not here to promote safety. They're here to rip families apart. That's not responsible. But the sad thing is, that's as leftist rhetoric goes. That's not even top 10% craziest things they've said. Take a listen. We put together this montage. Take a listen to this. These Democrats, just from this year, including Tim Walz, all talking about ICE agents.
Donald Trump's modern-day Gestapo is scooping folks up off the streets.
I called ICE the modern-day Gestapo.
This is not Germany. That's the SS and the Gestapo.
We're seeing aggressive Gestapo-type tactics.
When I see ICE, I see slave patrols.
We have ICE federal agents pulling up, terrorizing our communities, hopping out of unmarked vans, stealing and, yes, kidnapping people.
ICE is a terrorist organization. It needs to be defunded and needs to be abolished.
Now, when you hear stuff like that, you can probably, as a strong-minded, free-thinking individual, say these people are nuts. This is rhetoric. This is bluster. But what about people who can't? Folks, there's a reason there has been 1,000% increase in attacks on ICE agents. Folks, there is a reason that just in the last couple of months, we have seen one terrorist assault on the Prairie Land ICE facility in Texas. We saw a sniper attack on ICE agents in Dallas. We saw riots against ICE agents in Los Angeles. We saw 3 Democrat members of Congress in New Jersey, plus the mayor of Newark, trying to storm an ICE facility like it's Area 51. All of this is because people internalize this unhinged, crazy rhetoric, and they believe that ICE agents are agents of chaos, agents of evil, and as such must be opposed with any means necessary, including potentially violence. This is what leads to confrontations like the one you saw in Minneapolis today. We'll be right back with more here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Hey, Dan O'Donnell here for the Lynch family of dealerships. I've been a big proponent of Lynch for a while now. Here's why. They're literally a family dealership and have been since 1957. That's increasingly rare in the dealership world today, but the Lynch family employs 500 plus people who are all dedicated to taking care of you. They've got a wide selection of new and used vehicles, extended service department hours for early drop-offs and late pickups, and most importantly, they're proud supporters of our local communities and schools. They also stand behind what they sell with Lynch certified used vehicles, including a 168-point inspection to determine eligibility, an unparalleled 90-day or 3,000-mile certified guarantee, and a 10-day 500-mile exchange policy. And when you pair this with the Lynch Protected program, they cover your paint, your windshield, and your tires. It's easy to see why you should consider Lynch. Check them out today at shoplynch.com. GrieveLaw.com.
I'm attorney Tom Grieve with Grieve Law. If you're charged with drunk driving, you're not just looking at a ticket. You're looking at a permanent mark on your record that can affect your career and your ability to rent a car or travel internationally, not to mention the classes you'll need to take or the ignition interlock device that you'll have to install. Your license will be revoked, and even with a work permit, you're one long meeting or traffic jam away from driving revoked and facing up to 1 year in jail. That's a lot more than just a ticket, and if you pay the ticket without a fight, you are agreeing to be on the hook for all of it. At Grieve Law, we believe one mistake shouldn't define your life. Our seasoned criminal defense attorneys focus on OWI cases with a track record of getting results. We examine your case, challenge field sobriety tests, scrutinize breathalyzer accuracy, and expose the weaknesses in the prosecution's case. If you have been arrested for an OWI, you're facing serious consequences. But with Grieve Law in your corner, you are far from facing them alone. Contact Grieve Law for your OWI defense. You are only guilty if you are convicted. GrieveLaw.com.
Dan Voss from Cut and Go here. At the end of this commercial, I'm finally going to release our phone number. Unbelievably, Demand has helped Cut and Go amass a fleet of 5 cranes to handle raw tonnage of volume. We just added 2 more of our amazing remote-controlled truck-mounted articulated crane grapple saw tree removal trucks to our fleet. Seasonal pricing, frozen ground, less materials to haul, and disease and insects that don't spread during winter dormancy. Call Cut and Go 262-443-4995 or pick your preferred service at cutngotrees.com. Cut and Go safely in very organized fashion brings down trees for you to clean up at your leisure, or with Chip and Go service, we chip the limbs as they come down, or our premium full cut cleanup and removal, virtually levitating the tree off your property as it comes down. Call 262-443-4995. A Tons of Trees movement. cutngotrees.com. That's cutngotrees.com.
Here's why. Injured? It is about the money. Warshawski.com. I'm attorney Frank Crivello of the Warshawski Personal Injury Law Firm. Many personal injury firms operate as settlement clearinghouses. It's a low overhead, except for the cost of marketing, and profitable business model for a law firm. They advertise, take cases, and negotiate settlements. They get paid, their clients get paid, everyone is happy. Or are they? If you have a multi-million-dollar injury and settle for a few $100,000, your standard of living for the rest of your life will be terribly impacted. On the other side is Warshawski. From the moment we take your case, we prepare to win at trial. Warshawski is a collection of some of the most accomplished and award-winning personal injury attorneys in Wisconsin, with the most experienced investigators and legal professionals backing their every move. Making injured Wisconsinites whole isn't a game or an act. At Warshawski, it is our calling. We will hold the defendants accountable in your case by making them pay. Injured? It is about the money. Warshawski.com, 414-276-4970.
Hey, it's Dan, and when you think of old-fashioned Wisconsin values, what comes to mind? Kindness, friendliness, pride in a hard day's work? Yeah, me too. And that's why you simply have to give my friends at Old Fashioned Roofing a call. You see, they're not a bunch of corporate suits who are just pretending to be local. They are a veteran-owned, veteran-led, woman-owned team of Wisconsinites just like you and me. Heck, I even went to high school with one of the owners, Mel, and I am so proud that he's helped start a business where a handshake still matters and where craftsmanship always trumps salesmanship. At Old Fashioned, there are no gimmicks, no shortcuts. There's just good old-fashioned Wisconsin values. You see, they build roofs the way they used to be built, with pride and with care. So give them a call today at 262-229-8909. That's 262-229-8909, or visit them at oldfashionedroofing.com.
At Ross Dental, your journey to smiling like you just don't care because you don't isn't paved with anxiety, discomfort, or judgment. People should be judged by the content of their character, not the straightness, color, or condition of their smile. No matter how much restoration required, Ross Dental's gentle, caring staff won't judge you. Ross Dental does cutting-edge laser dentistry, maximizing patient comfort and health. Laser removal of tooth decay requires 0 shots. For almost everyone, it's painless. Procedures are faster, no numb mouth, 0 shots. Smile like you just don't care, because you don't. RossDentalNewBerlin.com. Lasers don't churn up infected tissue. They kill bacteria, fungus, even viruses, dramatically reducing infection-spreading bioaerosols old technology drills cause. Laser dentistry is ideal for cavity treatment, and less collateral tissue damage treating gum disease or canker sores speeds up recovery. Ross Dental's convenient payment options, low, even no radiation imagery, and sedation dentistry eliminate every reason to neglect your teeth. Schedule your cleaning or cosmetic assessment today, and soon you'll smile like you just don't care, because you don't. RossDentalNewBerlin.com.
Injured? Call Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Classical conservatism. Contemporary style. This is the Dan O'Donnell Show.
A reminder, ladies and gentlemen, coming up in about 20 minutes, a major investigation into extreme violence perpetrated by at least 6 members of a Milwaukee City Conference boys basketball team against the coach of a rival team that had just beaten them on the court. They stomped him and apparently broke his arm. Why did police not get involved? It does not appear that police were even called. And are these student athletes facing any sort of punishment whatsoever? We are going to dive into that. As you can imagine, we are going to be monitoring the situation in Minneapolis. And if there are any sort of protests or riots or anything like that, what we do know after 2020 is that these things get organized and they go across the country very, very quickly. If we hear of anything in Madison or Milwaukee or anywhere in Wisconsin, we will be following that. In fact, I am not going to be too far away from the radio station tonight. If things get bad, I will be here to cover it for you. If we don't break in, I will very likely go live on stream. So you can follow me on social media at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, on Facebook, on Instagram, YouTube. We will be streaming live on all of those if events warrant. I can just tell you as of right now, I am thinking the possibility of violent protests in Minneapolis is very, very strong. Here in Wisconsin, remember, even with George Floyd, and there was a major movement to make that a major national issue ahead of a presidential election. That took a couple of days before the protests and rioting really spread. Now, it seems as though the Trump administration is all over this. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem was in Texas, and she put out a very, very strong statement condemning this attack on ICE agents that led to the death of the woman who attempted to strike one of them with her vehicle.
It was an act of domestic terrorism. What happened, it was our ICE officers were out in an enforcement action. They got stuck in the snow because of the adverse weather that is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to push out their vehicle, and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and ram them with her vehicle. An officer of ours acted quickly and defensively shot to protect himself and the people around him. And my understanding is that she was hit and is deceased. We're continuing to gather more information, but this goes to show the assaults that our ICE officers and our law enforcement are under every single day. These vehicle rammings are domestic acts of terrorism. We're working with the Department of Justice to prosecute them as such. We will continue to protect our ICE officers and in cooperation with other law enforcement agencies as well.
You'll notice she said these vehicle rammings. This is part of a growing trend. A lot of times it is potential detainees of ICE agents who are attempting to get away from them by trying to run them over, flee in their vehicles. But there was a spate of these in Chicago during Operation Midway Blitz. Remember in October and November when there was a surge of ICE and other federal agents into the city to try to crack down on illegal immigration. This is becoming a thing. And lest you think that there isn't an organized effort to physically assault ICE agents, I will refer you to July 4th, the Prairieland Detention Center in Alvarado, Texas. A group of Antifa militants in black military-style clothing set off fireworks to lure ICE agents outside. They vandalized their vehicles, and they wrote things like traitor, ICE pigs, on ICE vehicles outside the facility in an attempt to lure the agents out. When they did, they opened fire on them with guns that were described as AR-15 style assault rifles in what federal indictments referred to as a planned ambush. One police officer was wounded in the neck. He did survive. Multiple suspects have faced federal charges. All are part of an Antifa group. About a month and a half later, at the Dallas ICE field office, 36-year-old guy claimed to have a bomb detonator in his backpack at the entrance to an ICE facility there. About a month after that, in Dallas, a sniper with radical left-wing ideology opened fire from a rooftop at a building and a van in a Sallyport that killed one ICE detainee and critically injured two others. The target was clearly the ICE agents that were escorting them into detention. There were anti-ICE messages on the shell casings, much like 2 weeks earlier when the Charlie Kirk assassin had anti-Charlie Kirk messages written on his shell casing. The shooter then killed himself. We can go back to June. 1,000+ people, rioters, surrounding a federal law enforcement building. After days of riots there, they assaulted ICE officers. They were throwing Molotov cocktails, slashing tires. Even before that, May 9th, Newark, New Jersey, Democrat reps Bonnie Watson-Coleman, Rob Menendez, and LaMonica McIver all show up for an unscheduled oversight visit. They bring a mob with them, along with the mayor of Newark, Ras Baraka. They all try to get into the facility. There's all sorts of chaos there. Baraka gets arrested for trespass. He's later released. McIver faces potential criminal charges. She's claiming immunity as a member of Congress. But this has been going on for a year now, all incited, all fomented, all sparked by radical left-wing leaders who want this sort of open rebellion against law enforcement agents. We name the unhinged liberal of the day when the Dan O'Donnell Show returns in just a second.
From the Lynch Buick GMC of West Bend Total Traffic Center.
Delays down on 894 eastbound from the Hale interchange to 76, westbound from the Mitchell over to Loomis, eastbound 94 stop and go from 84th to Hawley, and westbound from 25th to Hawley. I'm Kevin Henry, and that's your latest Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Red Pilled America.
Why haven't you listened to Red Pilled America? I get it. You must have pronouns in your bio. Because if you don't, then you should be listening to Red Pilled America. It's a storytelling show for patriots. Listen to Red Pilled America on the iHeartRadio app. That's Red Pilled America.
I'm attorney Tom Grieve, here to tell you about Grieve Civil Law. There's a lot of things in life we put off for far too long. Going to the doctor or the gym or the dentist. We know we should do it, but there's always something else more urgent. Estate planning cannot be put off. Life is unexpected. Have you thought about what your family would go through if you died without a will? Probate is stressful, time-consuming, and costly. It can cause family disputes and resentment. Is that what you want your legacy to be? Don't procrastinate when it comes to your family's future. Protect them from chaos and confusion. Don't let your legacy be the mess you left them with. You probably hear a lot of ads that say, time is running out, don't wait. It's a marketing gimmick. We all know there will be another sale soon. When it comes to estate planning, time is literally running out. Plan today and have peace of mind tomorrow. Don't gamble with your life's work. Don't gamble with your family's future. GrieveCivilLaw.com, because time is running out.
I'm Ryan Harrison, owner of Ryan Waterproofing. If it seems rain hangs around your home coming down as insidiously delicate droplets, or in buckets, and if neither, rain tends to lurk suspiciously in the atmosphere around your house, you probably have a wet, mildewy, leaky basement with cracked walls. No basement wall or foundation repair is too big or small for Ryan Waterproofing. We won't be the most expensive. The larger the job, the more you'll save with Ryan. We've eliminated bowed walls, cracks, spalling, seepage, and flooding in Coast Guard stations, museums, and countless Wisconsin homes. Ryan's waterproofing experts show up on time and do exactly what we say we're going to do, eliminating your water problems, restoring your home, even ending your negative obsession with rain. Imagine looking out the window for rainbows rather than obsessing about your basement walls and floors next time, every time it rains. Free estimates, affordable financing. Because praying for drought is overrated. Ryan Waterproofing. Call Ryan.com. That's callRION.com.
Happy New Year. Hey, it's Dan O'Donnell, and I've always said Wisconsin is built on strong families and solid values. That's exactly what I love about Built Right Furniture. For 4 generations, 98 years strong, the Built Right team has been a proud, locally and family-owned furniture store that's been helping local families save on affordable, better quality furniture and mattresses, mine included. And now they're doing something that really says a lot about who they are. Starting this year, Built Right will be open 5 days to shop, Tuesday through Saturday, and on Sunday and Monday, Built Right will be closed to be with family and friends. How great is that? A business who cares about the well-being of their team. It's good to be old school in today's 24/7 society, so now is the time to shop Built Right for all your home furnishing and mattress needs. Tell them Dan sent you to Built Right at 54th and Layton in Greenfield.
Rick, tell Sarah about the practical joke you came up with.
Okay, Sarah, this is really great. Are you ready?
Rick, I'm always ready. I walk around in a constant state of readiness.
A man buys a woman a pair of diamond stud earrings from Kessler's.
So far, this doesn't sound like much of a practical joke.
Be patient, he's not done yet.
And then on her birthday, or Valentine's Day, or Mother's Day, or Tuesday, he sneaks them out of her jewelry box and replaces them with a larger pair.
Well, as practical jokes go, this one sounds delightful, but it also sounds expensive.
No, he bought them at Kessler's, remember?
When you buy diamond stud earrings from Kessler's,
and we have them for $180 to $24,000 a pair,
you always get 100% of the price you paid when you trade up for a larger pair.
He just pays the difference?
He just pays the difference.
I love practical jokes. When do I get my first pair?
For the Kessler's nearest you, go to KesslersDiamonds.com.
Get started with your no-hassle refi checkup by clicking on the blue button at Accunet.com.
Flash back to the countdowns you grew up with on Classic American Top 40.
I'm Casey Kasem.
One channel with countdowns from the 70s and 80s.
The hits from coast to coast.
And another from the 90s and 2000s.
The smaller the numbers, the bigger the hits.
All commercial free. Relive the stories behind the songs with Classic American Top 40.
Keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars.
Search Casey Kasem and make these your next presets.
iHeartRadio.
Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show, a tour de force of truth. The truth is that we are in very grave risk of very violent riots in Minneapolis tonight. I hope that the cold and potential inclement weather is enough to ward off any potential bad actors from descending on the city again for the second time in 6 years. Minneapolis burned to the ground in the wake of the George Floyd death. I would hate to see it happen again tonight. Time now to name the unhinged liberal of the day.
Make me crazy.
Trump is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany.
Make me crazy.
All white people are racist.
Does that make me crazy?
Trump is dangerous because he's evil.
America is over.
Today's unhinged liberal of the day could be really nobody else. It is Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, who today gave one of the most shameful press conferences I think I have ever heard.
To ICE, get the f*** out of Minneapolis. We do not want you here. Your stated reason for being in this city is to create some kind of safety, and you are doing exactly the opposite. People are being hurt. Families are being ripped apart. Long-term Minneapolis residents that have contributed so greatly to our city, to our culture, to our economy are being terrorized, and now somebody is dead. That's on you. And it's also on you to leave.
Mayor Jacob Frey, your unhinged liberal of the day.
All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the Annex Wealth Management Studios. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference. Stay informed all day, every day on News Talk 1130 WISN. Milwaukee, an iHeartRadio station. Guaranteed human.
Good afternoon. I'm Dave Michaels. A woman is dead after an ICE officer-involved shooting in Minneapolis today. Fox's Mike Tubin.
The mayor said he doesn't want to see a repeat of 5 years ago, hinting to the George Floyd riots, but then didn't do anything to diffuse the anger and emotion with the crowd that is forming here. We said there were about 100 people. That has grown upwards of 300 now. They're burning objects out there, chanting, fight, 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 among other things. But as far as the facts in the case, DHS says this is an individual who weaponized her vehicle. A 37-year-old woman, a federal agent fired 2 shots. We understand that she was struck in the head, declared dead at the hospital, but received mortal wounds here on the scene.
The Trump administration says they're working closely with interim authorities in Venezuela, following the U.S. capture of deposed Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says that the U.S. is crafting a deal regarding the nation's oil.
Secretary Wright and the Department of Energy are working with the interim authorities and also with the private oil industry to execute on this historic energy deal. That's not only good for the United States, but it's also going to revive the prosperity, the safety, the security of both the United States and Venezuela as well.
And tickets for this weekend's Packers-Bears playoff game in Chicago, they're going to cost you.
According to TicketKing.com, the cheapest seats at Soldier Field are $480 a piece, and you must buy them in packs of 2 or 4. The cheapest end zone seats will cost you around $750, and if you want to sit right behind the Packers bench, it's $1,800. Raymond Newport, Wisconsin Radio Network.
Checking the Holiday Automotive of Fond du Lac Sports Scoreboard College basketball tonight. Marquette home to play Xavier. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Dave Michaels. On Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
From the Odoo.com Weather Center. Odoo.com, the only business software you need.
Partly sunny this afternoon with temperatures in the low 40s. We drop back into the mid-30s tonight, then climb to upper 40s on Thursday. A steady soaking rain is expected during the afternoon and evening, then snow showers return Saturday. I'm Fox 6 meteorologist Stephanie Barrichello.
This report is sponsored by the White House Briefing Room podcast with John Decker.
I'm John Decker. Join me weekdays for 15 minutes of no-spin White House coverage straight from the press briefing room. Subscribe now to the White House Briefing Room on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ETHOS.com/term.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-486-9600. That's 800-486-9600.
Bob here from Industry Revolutionizing Redefined Realty. There's no way an antique Milwaukee Badger ale beer bottle would have sold for $21,000 without auction. Only Redefined Realty combines MLS with auction. MLS gets your home found, and just like that beer bottle, auction compels buyers to compete in a bidding war. Buyers see the actual high bid, then outbid each other over and over and over. Redefined Realty's home sellers love standing on the sideline, watching returns on investment increasing. It's cool and fun. Selling your home with total price transparency guarantees you leave closing a winner with the maximum profit possible. Redefined Realty allows buyers to compete with or without an agent. Redefine's winning real estate combo, MLS plus auction, is the only marketing strategy that allows buyers and sellers to both win. Just like the buyers of your home, you're going to love meeting a winner at closing. Visit redefinerealty.com for a free comparable market analysis today and let yourself win. Buyers win, sellers win, let yourself win. Real estate for winners, redefinerealty.com.
I'm Thomas Rozecki at Central Office Systems. Implementing technology diligence saves businesses money, making technology profitable.
Chris Rozecki here. Seamlessly reliable technology is a competitive advantage for your business operations.
Flawlessly integrated IT, phone, email, software, data storage, data security backed by Central Office's North American Help Desk is smart business operations.
Central Office IT support answers your employees' calls in 1 minute. If your issue can't be resolved immediately by phone, Central Office dispatches live, local technical experts.
Central Office IT Managed Services secure your information, technology, and data. Our camera systems clearly document faces, read license plates, send alerts when movement, heat, or smoke are viewed.
Central Office smart camera systems combined with individual entry access from HID card, key fob, or smartphones, limited to certain days or time periods, secure your property.
Your company can afford Fortune 500 class IT system service and support with Central Office.
Converting IT risk and liability into assets, centralofficesystems.com.
Higher design, higher style, higher Wisconsin Kitchen Mart.
Opinion, emotion, passion. This is News Talk 1130 WISN.
Defeat on the basketball court leads to a beating in the parking lot. It happened following a game between Obama School in Milwaukee, the former Custer High School, and Bayview. One of the coaches of Bayview High School ended up with what I am told is a broken wrist. We will dive into this exclusive story here on the Dan O'Donnell Show coming up in just a second. First, if you would like to join the program, 414-799-1130 is our AdventNows.com talk and text line. You can reach us toll free, 1-800-838-9476, or email me, dod@iheartmedia.com. And in case you're wondering, where do I get the tips that I turn into these exclusive investigative reports and breaking stories? It is invariably from people just like you, emailing me in full confidence at dod@iheartmedia.com. Folks, this July, I will mark my 25th anniversary being in the broadcast industry. I started when I was just 2 years old. I am going to turn 27 this July. No, I was 19 years old. 25 years. It is almost hard to believe that it kind of coincided with my 20th birthday. I'm about to turn 45, and oh boy, midlife crisis is hitting me hard right now. But not so much a midlife crisis, just like every part of my body is breaking down right now at this exact moment. Like I've been walking on half a kneecap for the last year. I can barely see. I need glasses, but unfortunately, I don't want to have a massive glare for you folks watching me on the Dano cam. So I'm quite literally flying blind. So if you ever hear or ever see like a wrong soundbite being played or something like that, just assume it is not my producer, even though I make fun of Armin, who's doing a great job today with a whole lot of moving parts, or Eric, or we're soon to welcome Doug. Producer Doug Russell is coming on board. It takes a cast of thousands just to basically keep this old man upright. It is almost invariably the fact that I cannot see the computer screens in front of me. So maybe once I turn 45, I'll probably give up and just do the bifocals. But after 25 years in this business, I have never once burned a source, not once. You will not be the first. Anything you tell me is in strictest confidence. Heck, I don't even tell my wife and kids what I talk about, nor do I tell any of my producers what I talk about with my sources, nor do I tell them who my sources are. All sources are fully protected always. Just email me tips to dod@iheartmedia.com. Follow me on social at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show. You can also get in touch with me there. I do keep my DMs open. However, it's sometimes difficult because there are a whole lot of messages that come in on Facebook. I don't always get a chance to check those pretty regularly. I do try to read every single message I get, email, text, everything. It just, folks, you have to understand I'm on pretty much every press mailing list that there is, so I get a ton of spam. And I mean a ton of spam from politicians, from PR agencies, whatever. But please do follow me on social, watch the show streaming live on YouTube, and follow us in podcast form at Dan O'Donnell, the podcast edition, iHeartRadio, or wherever you listen to podcasts. We continue to monitor the situation in Minneapolis. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is urging people to be peaceful when they express their First Amendment rights today. He actually said something that in a very serious press conference made me laugh out loud.
Maybe we're at the McCarthy moment. Do you have no decency? Do you have no decency? We have someone dead in their car for no reason whatsoever. And I don't want to be right about this, but I said if they do this, they're going to create a chaotic situation where someone innocent's going to get killed. And they did it. And now we hear more political rhetoric. Enough. Enough is enough. And so to Minnesotans, don't take the bait. Do not take the bait. Do not allow them to deploy federal troops.
Okay, that wasn't it. Was it? See, this is what I'm talking about. I'm blind. I can't exactly see what soundbite it is I'm playing. Here it is where he says, protest peacefully like you always do.
To Minnesotans, I say this. I feel your anger. I'm angry. They want a show. We can't give it to them. We cannot. If you protest and express your First Amendment rights, please do so peacefully as you always do.
Was this guy in a coma for June of 2020? Protest peacefully as you always do. Almost burn the damn city to the ground. That first soundbite that I played by mistake, though, we absolutely do need to comment on. What he is talking about, folks, and he said so at various other points in the press conference. We'll try to get to some of those sound bites later on in the show. He's effectively talking about a war with the federal government. He makes that clear. He is basically saying it's us versus them. It is what they are trying to do. What Trump is trying to do is to goad you into burning the city down so that he can bring in his shock troops. And just like Joe McCarthy, he can find an insurrectionist around it. Listen to this again.
Maybe we're at the McCarthy moment. Do you have no decency? Do you have no decency? We have someone dead in their car for no reason whatsoever.
Okay, wait a second. For no reason whatsoever. For no reason whatsoever. She was just peacefully observing ICE agents doing nothing, and they killed her. What's actually shocking and what's so disheartening is that so many people are going to believe this because so many propagandists in the supposedly objective press are just going to report this as absolute fact. We have video. It's all over X. And again, folks, if you are not on X, get on X. You don't even need to send a tweet. Don't send a single tweet. Get on there. Follow me at Dan O'Donnell Show. There's a shameless little plug. Follow at News Talk 1130. Follow at 1310 WIBA. Follow at Armin Sarian. Follow at, Yount 1130. I believe. Follow at Jason Gotch. Follow at Vicky McKenna. Follow at Clay Travis. Follow at Buck Sexton. Mark Levin, Sean Hannity, and what you will see is the truth in real time. I use X. X is easily my most invaluable news gathering tool outside of your tips, of course, because it offers free, unfiltered truth, unedited, uncensored truth. The truth is, Democrats have been all but clamoring for a violent confrontation like this for months. How else do you explain this sort of rhetoric about ICE agents?
Donald Trump's modern-day Gestapo is scooping folks up off the streets.
I called ICE the modern-day Gestapo.
This is not Germany. That's the SS and the Gestapo.
We're seeing aggressive Gestapo-type tactics.
When I see ICE, I see slave patrols.
We have ICE federal agents pulling up, terrorizing our communities, hopping out of unmarked vans, stealing and, yes, kidnapping people.
ICE is a terrorist organization. It needs to be defunded and needs to be abolished.
This is what they believe. This is what they have been saying for months. We move now to a major exclusive story here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. 6 members of the Obama School of Career and Technical Education physically assaulted one of the coaches of the Bayview High School boys basketball team and broke his wrist on December 16th, following a 64-39 Bayview boys basketball victory. According to eyewitness reports, the game was rather chippy, and it got out of hand, as you could imagine. It was a 25-point victory for Bayview. The Obama School of Career and Technical Education has been struggling a little bit. They're 2-3 on the season. Well, afterwards, in the parking lot on the way to the team bus, 6 members of the Obama Career and Technical Education team started to just jeer and verbally harass and start pushing and just basically getting in the faces of the Bayview players. This happened at the Obama school at about 9 p.m., immediately following the game. One of the Bayview coaches at this point tried to stop his team from being assaulted, and in the process, the 6 Obama players began to physically assault him. They started shoving, they started circling him. Eventually, they got him on the ground, and several members of the team started stomping him while he was down there. As a result, I am told the coach's wrist was broken, and it is now, or at least it was initially after the attack, in an arm cast. Now, there were 2 911 calls placed from the Obama school that night, or placed by somebody on a cell phone who was at the Obama school, somebody whose geo position put them to the school. One was at 9:14 p.m., the other at 9:43 p.m. But both calls were disconnected, and they did not result in police being called to the scene of what was very clearly a violent assault. Now, I reached out to Milwaukee Public Schools seeking some sort of comment about this. Is this what happened? Is there any disciplinary action that is going to be taken? Why wasn't law enforcement immediately contacted? I did receive a response from Stephen Watson, who is a spokesperson for Milwaukee Public Schools. Here's what he said. The safety of our students, staff, and athletics visitors is important to us, and as we would in any case like this, we took prompt action to investigate the incident. We also took appropriate school and athletic disciplinary action. We cannot share specifics on student discipline per federal law. Milwaukee Police Department school resource officers, or SROs, were present for the basketball game. However, they had left prior to this situation, and event staff were there to address it immediately. Here's the issue with that. All 6 of those Obama players actually played in a game 2 days later on Thursday, December 18th against the Pulaski High School, which resulted in a 60-32 loss. Now, immediately after that, MPS went on winter break. Now, is it possible that MPS was investigating and doling out punishments over winter break? Yes. And according to the spokesperson, everybody involved has been properly disciplined. The Obama basketball team has not played a game since then. Tomorrow night, however, they are hosting the Milwaukee Lifelong Learning School, and then 2 nights later, on Saturday night, Saturday afternoon at 12:45 p.m., they are hosting, are you ready for it? Bayview High School again. Are those players going to be allowed to play in any more games? Now, I respect the fact that Milwaukee Public Schools is not going to divulge details of disciplinary action, but I have some very serious questions about this. Why were there 2 calls placed to Obama's school clearly as a result of this incident, 9:15, 9:43 p.m.? Was this members of the event staff calling in what was very obviously a massive brawl / vicious assault, but then deciding against getting law enforcement involved? What I can tell you, after years and years and years of covering Milwaukee Public Schools, is that there is a very, very ingrained culture in which the most important thing very often is not getting the law involved and handling things internally out of fear of what law enforcement might do to the students. And secondarily, how this might reflect on Milwaukee Public Schools if you have multiple members. Now, there are 15 members, according to maxpreps.com, which is a big prep sports website. There are 15 members of the Obama basketball team. So 6 of those players, I believe, frankly, a fair punishment would be suspension for the rest of the season. This is not merely, and you'll notice MPS did not dispute any of the facts as presented to me by multiple witnesses on the scene of what I am told was a very, very chaotic situation. If anyone has any cell phone video of it, I have been combing the internet for, folks, literally weeks. This was brought to my attention shortly before Christmas, and I have been trying to confirm information. I have been looking for corroborating video evidence. If there is anyone who has additional information about this violent assault, please don't hesitate to contact me anonymously, of course, DOD@iHeartMedia.com. But it seems to me as though there has been an attempt to just sort of sweep this under the rug, and what is very obviously a violent, potentially felonious assault committed by young men who very clearly could and perhaps should be tried as adults. For them to potentially be allowed to play basketball again, I can tell you all 6 of them were playing 2 days later. Now, I'll give MPS, I'll give Obama School the benefit of the doubt here. It takes a little bit to figure out, okay, who was involved, who did the stomping, what's going on here. While we're sorting this out, all right, continue to play, but just know the hammer is going to fall. I've got very grave concerns that the hammer is not going to fall. Tomorrow night, if there are 15 Obama School players suiting up, after nearly a month, after 3 weeks after this incident, I'm going to have some very serious questions about what punishment, if any, has been meted out here. Now, I'm not here to say what would or should be an appropriate punishment, but this isn't, you get below a 2.0 or whatever the bare minimum grade point average is to remain eligible to play on the basketball team. This isn't that sort of infraction. This isn't, okay, you were caught at an underage drinking party and, you got an underage drinking ticket. Okay, you're suspended. This is a crime. These kids committed a crime. As the information was presented to me, they committed felony assault. And they're potentially going to be allowed, not just felony assault against a coach that they then will be playing against on Saturday afternoon again. I guess I would very much like more details on, okay, you can't divulge the punishment, but is this a 5-day suspension? We say you get beaten on the court, so it's okay to viciously beat the coach that beat you in the parking lot? Break his arm? The guy spent Christmas with his hand in a cast. And yet these kids are playing 2 nights later. I mean, something like this, with this many members of the team involved, I'd like to think that there would be at least a discussion about shutting down the season. Getting involved in a post-game brawl where you break the other team's wrist, you break the other team's coach's wrist. We'll have more details still to come on this exclusive story, a basketball beating at the Obama school, coming up next.
From the Lynch GM Superstore in Burlington Total Traffic Center.
Delays headed southbound on 43, starting up at Center, continuing in pockets down to the Marquette and on to 4394 in pockets down to Beecher. Got northbound delays between Fond du Lac and North. I'm Kevin Henry, and that's your latest Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Tap In Golf in Waukesha and Sussex.
5 degrees? No problem. 3 feet of snow? Still no problem. Keep your swing fresh all winter at Tap In Golf Bar in Waukesha and Sussex. Enjoy full swing simulator technology and a full-service bar. Reserve now at tapingolfbar.com.
Ever wonder what it takes to feel truly wealthy and financially comfortable? Schwab asked Americans that question, and most said at least $2 million. But here's the thing, your number might be different. And that makes sense because your dreams, travel, retirement, and the legacy you want to leave are unique to you. That's why you need advice that's just as personal. The team at Annex Wealth Management is ready to listen and help you build a plan that fits your life. Click the Get Started button at annexwealth.com.
I'm attorney Tom Grieve, here to tell you about Grieve Civil Law. Life is unpredictable, but you can help your loved ones navigate dark days by preparing for the future now. Powers of attorney, wills, and trusts are all components to a robust estate plan that ensures your wishes are fulfilled. Do you think your estate is simple or should be executed using common sense? In many cases, the law cannot take into account how complicated families are. If you or your heirs are divorced, or if your heirs get divorced in the future, your assets may not go where you intend. Many people say that they will get a will, but they never get around to it. Their loved ones often pay for their lack of planning in the time and stress of probate, not to mention court fees. On top of their grief, they'll wrestle with red tape and resentment. Don't gamble your life's work. Don't gamble with your family's future. Protect your loved ones from legal battles. It's more than just a document, it's peace of mind. Contact Grieve Civil Law today, because tomorrow isn't guaranteed. GrieveCivilLaw.com.
Seasonal pricing, frozen ground, dormant diseases and insects make winter a great time to have undesirable trees removed. A Tons of Trees movement. 262-443-4995. CUTNGO trees.com.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules. Make News Talk 1130 WISN your number one preset on our free iHeartRadio app, powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call, that's all.
Smart speakers get a whole lot smarter when they're playing News Talk 1130 WISN. Just ask Alexa or Siri to play WISN Radio and bask in the glow of insight and enlightenment.
This is WISN.
Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show. Intelligent discourse, irreverent fun. Absolutely nothing fun about a game in Milwaukee on Tuesday, December 16th. It is an exclusive story here on the Dan O'Donnell Show following Bayview High School's 64-39 defeat of the Obama School of Career and Technical Education boys basketball team. Animosity from the game spilled out into the parking lot, and 6 members of the Obama basketball team started to verbally harass and attack members of Bayview as the Bayview players were boarding the bus. Multiple witnesses say the Obama players were the clear aggressors here, that the Bayview players were just trying to get back on the bus. They had a big 25-point win, and Obama was upset because the game had gotten chippy. Obviously, they lost by a lot. At one point, one of Bayview's coaches tried to step in, get between his team and the aggressive Obama players. At that point, they turned on him, began to assault him, eventually surrounded him, shoved him to the ground, and started stomping him while he was on the ground. He resulted in a broken wrist, and he is now, or at least at one point, was in an arm cast. There were 2 911 calls emanating from the Obama school that night, one at 9:14, the other at 9:43. Both were disconnected. Neither resulted in Milwaukee police being called to the scene of what was very clearly a violent assault. If, in fact, the coach's wrist was broken, if there was a fracture and not just a bad sprain, I am led to believe it was a broken wrist, that is very likely substantial battery and a felony. I reached out to Milwaukee Public Schools seeking comment and further information on this incident December 16th because all 6 Obama players were suited up and did play in the following game against Pulaski on Thursday, December 18th. At that point, they were off for Christmas break. They just returned to school on Monday, and their first game after winter break is at home tomorrow night. They will then play Bayview at Bayview. I believe, where is that game going to be? They're playing Bayview again on Saturday afternoon. I had the schedule up, but clicked away from it. They're going to play at 12:45 p.m. They're going to play against Bayview again. Now, MPS says only that the students were disciplined. The athletes were disciplined, but I am very curious to see if they are still going to be allowed to play basketball. It is my very sincere hope that they are going to be suspended for at least a substantial portion of the season. But past history with these sorts of things, you might remember years ago, there was a star basketball player for, I believe it was Washington High School, who was charged with armed robbery, was charged with party to the crime of armed robbery, and was yet still allowed to play high school basketball. The argument there was that, well, that was something that happened independent of school. It happened outside of school, so we're not going to punish him until he's convicted. It was a big mess. And it was a black eye for the WIAA and for Milwaukee Public Schools. Well, here you have an incident in which 6 basketball players, 6 student athletes, are engaged in felony behavior. If this happened, as multiple witnesses are saying it absolutely happened, that they aggressively attacked one of Bayview's coaches, stomped him and broke his wrist, that is substantial battery. That is a felony under Wisconsin law, and it didn't happen outside of a school function. This happened right after a basketball game. So I reached out to MPS spokesperson Stephen Davis, excuse me, I apologize. Stephen Watson, I believe, is a TV news anchor. Stephen Davis of MPS got back to me and said, the safety of our students, staff, and athletics visitors is important to us. And as we would in any case like this, we took prompt action to investigate this incident. We also took appropriate school and athletic disciplinary action. We cannot share specifics on student discipline per federal law. Milwaukee Police Department school resource officers were present for the basketball game. However, they had left prior to this situation, and event staff were there to address it immediately. How? What event staff? The Bayview coach who was assaulted? Again, I understand and I do respect the fact that MPS cannot just release disciplinary records. These are potentially minor children, but I'm telling you, the fact that this did not result in a law enforcement investigation, the fact that event staff didn't say, hey, there's a bunch of kids who just beat the holy hell out of an adult, maybe we should call the police. And the fact that there were 2 911 calls, but both were disconnected. And folks, that isn't necessarily indicative of somebody saying, oh, don't call the cops, it'll get MPS in trouble. It's more likely someone calls 911 and it's while it's ongoing, they're part of the melee, they're trying to break people up. The dispatcher say, hello, 911, what's your emergency? And then there's a disconnect. There are a ton of calls like that happen. But this isn't your typical kids getting in trouble. It's a little bit of shoving on the basketball court. Maybe it's a hard technical foul. Sometimes you'll see incidents in which players and fans or parents get into it. This was 6 players surrounding a coach, getting him on the ground and stomping him like a bunch of thugs. Folks, if they're allowed to play basketball again this season, I'll be, frankly, not surprised, but rather disgusted. This is the sort of action that you forfeit your basketball season. With that many players on the Obama team involved in this, I would very strongly consider saying, hey, there is no control over this team. Season's over, guys. Now, granted, is that fair to the other 9 players on the Obama team who weren't part of this? No, it probably isn't. But that many players on a team just all viciously assaulting a coach. And again, this was, look, I understand. It's the heat of the moment in a game. Fights happen. I myself had to break up a brawl between my high school team a year or 2 ago and another team in indoor soccer. It happens. These kids are 99% testosterone and 1% brains, and maybe 1/3% restraint. I get it. On the court, yeah, it happens. Bench clearing brawls, they happen. It's awful. It's terrible. I'm not condoning it. Heat of the moment, yeah. You're following the team out to the bus? This is sort of like that old, like, oh, I'll see you in the parking lot. And it happened. It happened. What's actually kind of amazing also is that this happened on December 16th. It is now January 7th, and this is the first anybody is reporting on this. I can't believe. Now, I heard about this immediately after. It took a long time to get my ducks in a row. Folks, right before Christmas, I'm working like a dog on that family Christmas special. And I thought, okay, if I do this story now, it's just going to get lost in the Christmas. So my plan all along, and also I wanted to be fair to MPS and say, look, okay, I get Christmas break is coming up. You're going to take some time to investigate this, but boy, it did not sit right with me that those kids were all playing in the game 2 days later. It makes me think that, okay, you know, no harm, no foul. Well, I guess there was some harm to the coach. You're going to be suspended for the first week after Christmas break, and, you know, you'll miss a couple of basketball games. Now, I suppose it's probably up to the coach whether or not to bring criminal charges. I know what my answer would be. And it's his personal decision. I'm also willing to wager that there is video footage of this incident from security cameras at the school, or potentially a Ring doorbell camera or something from a neighbor, that you would be able to see, that the police department would be able to take a look at if there was any interest whatsoever in investigating this violent assault, but it doesn't seem like there is. And I guess I'm just a little perplexed, because I guess I'll take MPS at its word that these kids are going to be, and you know, teasing out Stephen Davis's statement. We took prompt action to investigate this incident. We also took we also took appropriate school and disciplinary action. We cannot share specifics on student discipline per federal law. Producer Armin, you've been around high school basketball for quite some time. Sounds like the kids are suspended from school. Sounds like the kids are suspended from the team for a point. Do you think it would be appropriate they lose the rest of their season? I do. Yeah, suspension of some sort. And again, we don't know. I mean, if somebody has any information, please do shoot me an email, dod@iheartmedia.com, or text 414-799-1130. I think certainly rest of the season suspension for those students involved, absolutely. 5-day out of school suspension. But here's the thing. We are thinking of this stuff in terms of, oh, it's kids being kids. This wasn't. This was a violent assault. This was, if it's outside of the context of a City of Milwaukee basketball game, and you've just got 6 dudes surrounding another guy and stomping him into the ground and breaking his wrist, you're talking about a felony. Who am I kidding? It'll be pleaded down to a misdemeanor, and they'll probably get a deferred prosecution anyway. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show, yet another Dan O'Donnell Show exclusive. We'll come right back in just a second.
Slammed westbound on 94 between 16th and Hawley. Eastbound delays from the zoo over to 68th. 894 southbound tight in pockets from Greenfield down to the Hale interchange. I'm Kevin Henry, and that's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by the Lynch Automotive family of dealerships.
For over 65 years, the Lynch family of dealerships has been more than just a car dealership. Starting in 1957, we've treated our customers like family from day one. Start your car buying journey today at shoplynch.com.
I'm Warshawski Law's nationally certified legal investigator, John Schatzman. If you or someone you love is horribly injured, sign and settle lawyers should scare you more than blocking Clay Matthews on a Klingon battle cruiser. Insurance companies value your claim based on the quality of your law firm. Settlement Mills investigating your injuries is a lawyer who never tried a case looking at police reports. With Warshawski in your corner, our own investigator will be on the way to record the scene of your injury, interview witnesses, usually within minutes of your call. It's not uncommon for me to document and preserve evidence police officers did not see as significant. Meticulous examination of physical evidence, all documentation, and every medical record makes certain nothing is missed. Warshawski will show how your losses could have been prevented and exactly why they were not. Insurance companies are risk adverse. Warshawski's unique skills make record cash settlements possible. And when settlement is not forthcoming, your best outcome at trial. Injured, it is about the money. Warshawski.com.
Happy New Year and welcome to This Week with Annex Wealth Management. Dan O'Donnell alongside Dave Spano, the CEO of Annex. And new year, new international dynamic as President Trump stunned the world over the weekend by arresting Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and effectively seizing Venezuela's vast oil reserves. Initially, the markets loved that. The international community, a little bit concerned, Dave, about where we go from here. From a political perspective, that's going to be discussed for months. But from an economic perspective, at least it seems that stability with respect to Venezuelan oil production is very, very good.
Yeah, you left to look at, there's a lot of questions that are going to have to be answered. In fact, who's in charge? What's the legal authority? When is there going to be an election? And when is it going to take place? And of course, the oil infrastructure, does it really help the folks in Venezuela? All of those questions are soon to be answered. You hearken back to what happened in Panama in 1990, and even though it might have been a forgotten event, the UN still has to weigh in. So all of these questions will weigh into how people's portfolios will be looking in 2026. And so we think about what we know, when we know it, what's in your portfolio. All of this is going to matter as we go into 2026. Geopolitical risk is still in front of us. GDP is looking good. Inflation seems sticky, and the markets are going to have to be pickier as well.
And that's why you need to head to annexwealth.com. New year, new outlook on your portfolio. What do you own? Why do you own it? Work with someone who's working for you as a fee-only fiduciary. annexwealth.com. For Dave Spano, I'm Dan O'Donnell. Thank you so much for listening to This Week with Annex Wealth Management.
I'm Ryan Sigler at Southeast Wisconsin's #1 traveling therapeutic, Smart Tech. Having difficulty paying attention? Disorganized? Make careless mistakes? Are you forgetful or frequently late? You're not ADD. You've got DDID, more commonly known as damaged, defective iPhone display. Cracked, chipped, or otherwise malfunctioning iPhone screens steal from Souls Ongoing. Getting your iPhone repaired at the mall or waiting in line at your phone service provider to be told they'll mail a replacement after you pay your deductible are hassles you dread, so you live with constant irritation. Just as a frayed shoelace causes frustration, a damaged iPhone screen never stops robbing time and happiness. A new shoelace is an easy upgrade life hack, just like a new iPhone screen is with Smart Tech. Smart Tech cures DDID in one convenient 20-minute visit to your home or business. Smart Tech comes to you, repairs your iPhone screen in just 20 minutes or less, and you feel better. Optic nerves and information reunited. SmartTechPhoneRepair.com. That's SmartTechPhoneRepair.com.
If the power goes out in the middle of winter, do you have a way to stay warm? If not, you need the Vesta off-grid space heater from My Patriot Supply. It's compact, safe to use indoors, and best of all, it doesn't need electricity. Right now, you can get a free Vesta and other bonus gifts when you order the Winter Survival Kit from My Patriot Supply. Just go to MyPatriotSupply.com to see everything included. That's MyPatriotSupply.com.
Injured? Call Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
New year, new goals. And in this economy, a better money plan is more necessary than ever. I am Matt.
And I'm Joel.
We are from the How to Money podcast. And every week we help you to spend smarter, save more, and to make sense of what's going on out there.
If you want 2026 to be the year you finally feel in control of your money, we're here to give you the tools and advice to help you make it happen. Open your free iHeartRadio app, search How to Money, and listen now.
How do you define strength?
strength? Is it physical? Or is it mental? Maybe it's both. Maybe it's whatever empowers a person to dig deeper, fight harder, and overcome obstacles that once seemed insurmountable. Discover how much stronger and more confident your children can be. Encourage them to participate in a sport when they go to high school.
This message presented by the Wisconsin Interscholastic Athletic Association and the Wisconsin Athletic Directors Association.
I hesitate to go with this information. I never like to go with things that I'm not 100% sure are officially confirmed, but it does appear that the woman who was shot and killed by an ICE agent in Minneapolis has now been identified. She is, in fact, from Minnesota. Do we have actually producer Armin? I should have been asking you for this. I'm working on writing up our exclusive story. If you missed it, 6 members of the Obama High School, it's the former Custer High School, renamed for Barack Obama during his presidency. They viciously assaulted a coach at Bayview High School following the two teams' boys basketball game on December 16th. All 6, according to Milwaukee Public Schools, have been disciplined both in school and athletically. However, none of the 6 has faced any legal consequences for what amounts to substantial battery. I am seeing... Yeah, it's all over social media, and I just, you know, the shooting at Brown University, where they identified a guy as the gunman, just some innocent kid from Wisconsin, actually, as the gunman, and basically ruined his life for an afternoon. I'm not going to do it. I have seen people saying on X that they have officially identified the woman who was shot and killed by ICE agents. She is a left-wing activist. If this is the person, I'm just not. I'm not going to go with the name. We'll hear it soon enough. If this isn't the woman, you know, all of a sudden her name is out there, and whenever you Google her in perpetuity, she's tied to this, even if it's not her. I'm not going to be a part of that. You can find it all over social media. I'll wait for the official confirmation from Governor Walz or the federal government or something like that. This was a left-winger, and this was somebody who was basically, I hate to say, brainwashed into getting in the way of law enforcement investigations that she had no business getting in the way of. Folks, I'm going to make a quick executive decision here. I am very likely, I said I've got another big story about judges who are just running unopposed, including one truly awful one up in Iron County who is celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk a few months ago, running unopposed because conservatives, even in very conservative communities, are simply unable to get people to run against them. I am very likely to break that story on social media tonight and then talk about it tomorrow. There's just so much more I want to talk about. We do have the daily Trump date. That's going to get pushed to the 5 o'clock hour. President Trump did a whole lot today, including a very important executive order that I want to get to. So what we are going to do is I'm going to do the judge story. And basically, what I can give you the bare bones of it is there are 26, by our count, there are 26 circuit court judges across the state who are running for re-election in this spring election in April. Only 7 are facing opponents. 7. out of 26. This has been a big problem. It hasn't been a problem. It was never a problem for any Scott Walker appointee in Milwaukee or Dane County. Democrats made it their sole mission to pick off every Scott Walker judge they could. Conservatives do not have that same zeal in going after. If you want to know why our criminal justice system is so screwed up, if you want to know why leftists have taken over it, even in conservative areas, look no further than the fact that you have got left-wingers, even in very conservative areas, running unopposed. We'll name the unsung hero of the day when the Dan O'Donnell Show returns.
From the Lynch Chevrolet of Kenosha Total Traffic Center.
Things getting heavier southbound on 43 between North Avenue and the Marquette Interchange, taking you 20 minutes from Brown Deer. Westbound on 94, another 22 out to Moreland. Got solid delays from 16th to Mitchell Boulevard. I'm Kevin Henry, and that's your latest Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Allstate. Wish you could save on home insurance? With Allstate, you could easily save and get quality protection. Yep, it's a win-win. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
I'm Ryan Harrison, owner of Ryan Waterproofing. Does it seem like storms travel hundreds of miles out of their way against prevailing winds to keep your basement damp, wet, moldy, even flooded? It isn't going to resolve itself. Freezing and thawing over time expands damage to walls, foundations, and even your family's health. That's not purified water seeping or running through your basement walls. It's filth, carrying every sort of bacteria, fungus, and mold. Only Ryan Waterproofing has an estimator project coordinator you'll love. Ashley's expert, honest, and will make you comfortable with the solutions proposed, and she'll be with you every step of the project. Doesn't matter how bad the cracks or sag in your basement walls are. Ryan has affordable sealant and water abatement solutions for most basements, with convenient financing options including 18 months no-interest financing. You actually might enjoy walking in the rain when it's not in your basement. Contact Ryan today, because praying for drought is overrated. Ryan Waterproofing. Call Ryan.com. That's call RION.com. Call Ryan.com.
Oh my gosh, are you okay?
Who, me?
Yes, you.
Why do you ask?
Probably because you're wearing a neck brace.
Oh, that?
How did you hurt your neck?
It's from visiting with family.
What?
Every time we get together, we sit on the sofa in the living room, and I keep having to crane my neck from side to side so I can talk to everyone.
So you're saying that you injured your neck talking to your relatives?
You know, this is why we created the SB393 leather sofa at Penny Mustard.
American made with a solid wood frame and a slight curve in its gorgeous design,
making it more conducive to comfortable conversation.
This sofa actually improves relationships.
Good, because these family gatherings can be a real pain in the neck.
The SB393 leather sofa, American made with individual seat springs and unsmooshable Qualix Ultra Foam. Starting at $39.80 at Penny Mustard.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com.
Better versions of what people want.
Penny Mustard Furnishing.
Dan Voss from Cut & Go here. At the end of this commercial, I'm finally going to release our phone number. Unbelievably, demand has helped Cut & Go amass a fleet of 5 cranes to handle raw tonnage of volume. We just added 2 more of our amazing remote-controlled truck-mounted articulated crane grapple saw tree removal trucks to our fleet. Seasonal pricing, frozen ground, less materials to haul, and disease and insects that don't spread during winter dormancy. Call Cut & Go 262-443-4995 or pick your preferred service at cutngotrees.com. Cut & Go safely in very organized fashion brings down trees for you to clean up at your leisure, or with Chip & Go service, we chip the limbs as they come down, or our premium full cut cleanup and removal, virtually levitating the tree off your property as it comes down. Call 262-443-4995. A Tons of Trees movement. cutngotrees.com. That's cutngotrees.com.
For safe, purified water right from your faucet, the solution is crystal clear.
Any project, big or small, when it comes to water, one call does it all. S&K Pump and Plumbing.
At Engine and Transmission Exchange, their ethics match their expertise. I wish I'd thought of that, but that's part of a 5-star review from John, who took his car to ETE recently thanks to a warning light that came on. It turned out to be a loose wire that Vince and his team fixed for no charge. That really is something they do. In fact, Walt, another customer, says he's been taking his cars to ETE for years and admits they'll tell me what's wrong, and if it's something minor, I'll do it myself, and they don't seem to mind. He says we'll keep coming to them because of their honesty, competence, and reasonable cost when we need a repair. What more can you ask for in an auto repair shop? ETE's people really will go over and above for you. Moreover, all of their work will be done by ASE certified technicians. They'll tell you what they're doing first. They'll only do what needs to be done, and they'll do it right. With locations on South 27th Street in Milwaukee and West Avenue in Waukesha, they have easy drop-off and pickup, and they will work around your busy schedule. Check out EngineTrans.com. EngineTrans.com. It's Engine and Transmission Exchange.
Higher design, higher style, higher Wisconsin Kitchen Mart.
It is time now to name the unsung hero of the day on the Dan O'Donnell Show, and it is it is Waukesha County Sheriff Eric Severson, who announced today that he is not going to seek another term as sheriff. He has been serving the people of Waukesha County for more than 40 years, but he has decided to call it a career. Sheriffs are elected in the fall. It is a partisan position, and Sheriff Severson said in a statement that the time is simply right to turn things over to a new generation. I have had multiple dealings with Sheriff Severson, working with him on a series on fentanyl more than a decade ago. I find him to be a consummate professional and a very good friend. Sir, congratulations on a great career. Eric Severson, your unsung hero of the day.
All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the Annex Wealth Management Studios. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference. Stay informed all day, every day on News Talk 1130 WISN. Milwaukee, an iHeartRadio station. Guaranteed human.
Good afternoon. I'm Dave Michaels. Waukesha County Sheriff Eric Severson announced he will not seek re-election and said today he will leave office at the end of the month. A 70-year-old crossing guard is still in the hospital after she was struck outside of Pulaski High School yesterday.
That's near 25th in Oklahoma. Police say shortly before 8 yesterday morning, a driver was going around another car and hit the crossing guard who was in the road at the time. The driver stayed at the scene but was cited for not having insurance.
Fox 6's Carl Deffenbaugh, and a man from Milwaukee who crashed into a squad car while driving the wrong way early New Year's morning has now been charged.
According to a criminal complaint, 23-year-old Zachariah Council was northbound in the southbound lanes of I-94 in Milwaukee and hit a Milwaukee County Sheriff's squad car head-on. No one was hurt. Audio from a deputy's body cam.
You understand you're driving on the wrong side of the freeway, right?
Freeway, yeah. I know that I'm on the freeway somewhere.
The complaint says the search found marijuana shake splattered all over Council's vehicle. He's charged with second offense OWI and recklessly endangering safety. Ted Allen, Wisconsin Radio Network.
Checking the holiday automotive of Fond du Lac sports scoreboard. The Bucks out west tonight to play Golden State. Tip time 9 o'clock. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Dave Michaels on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Here's the latest forecast presented by AdventKnows.com from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Partly sunny this afternoon with temperatures in the low 40s. We drop back into the mid-30s tonight, then climb to upper 40s on Thursday. A steady soaking rain is expected during the afternoon and evening, then snow showers return Saturday. I'm Fox 6 meteorologist Stephanie Barrichello.
This report is sponsored by Taking a Walk Podcast.
I'm Buzz Knight, host of the Taking a Walk Podcast. Step with us into the world of music. I bring you up-close conversations with new and legendary musicians. For one of the best music interview podcasts, listen to Taking a Walk on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Total Health's Jay Johnson. The Falls and New Berlin. Additives, chemicals, and toxins in your diet can miswire the way your genes express themselves. Food is critical for health. Increased energy, better sleep, reversing chronic disease. A healthier, happier, pain-free you is simple. Schedule your free total health consult. Holistic health coaches will guide you to a healthier, happier, truly you. Seed oils, the #1 source of calories in American diets, were developed as fuel in industrial lubricants. Seed oils cause dozens of chronic illnesses. Big Healthcare's solution to nutritional-related illness is their same solution to all health-related problems. Drugs that also alter the way your genes express themselves, leaving root causes making you increasingly sick over time. What they never tell is eliminate seed oils from your diet, and cutting back on sugar will immediately improve your health. It's true. Total Health finds root causes of sickness, including nutritional deficiencies, then helps you, the whole complete you, achieve wellness. It's not theory. Relativity equals expertise plus execution. TotalHealthInc.com. That's TotalHealthInc.com.
Who services and installs wells and sump pumps? Who does plumbing and repairs? How about water heaters? Who does that?
S&K Pump and Plumbing.
But who services and installs water softeners and iron filters? And what about kitchen or bathroom remodeling? Who does that? There must be one company that can handle all of your water needs. Who can you call?
When it comes to water, one call does it all. S&K Pump and Plumbing.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com, because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/Mike.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation. Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-486-9600. That's 800-486-9600.
Get your rock solid guaranteed pre-approval to buy at ACCUNET.com.
Kowal Investment Group, now Creative Planning, is a registered investment advisor. Now for your business report from Creative Planning. For informational purposes only, past performance is not indicative of future results.
Good afternoon, this is Anthony Priester with your closing business report. The major averages were mixed today as investors digested fresh jobs data, which showed 41,000 private sector jobs added in December, slightly missing expectations ahead of Friday's December jobs report, which investors see as a key test of the economy. And crude oil prices dropped after President Donald Trump announced that interim authorities in Venezuela will be turning over as much as 50 million barrels of oil to the U.S., sparking concerns over increasing oil supply. At the close, the Dow was down 466 points, the S&P 500 was down 23 points, the NASDAQ was down 37 points. From Creative Planning, I'm Anthony Priester.
A press conference from Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, who is going to give a complete briefing on the situation in Minneapolis, in which an ICE agent shot and killed a woman who is apparently, and by all available video evidence, seemed to be attempting to run him down with her vehicle after ignoring repeated commands to stop, to get out of the vehicle. The ICE agents had apparently skidded off the road in their vehicle. This woman was, by all accounts, an ICE observer, somebody who is being trained by left-wing politicians or NGOs or various liberal groups to essentially go and monitor ICE investigations, to try to provide warning to the illegal aliens that ICE is targeting, that there are ICE agents in the neighborhood. Now, left-wingers, including several members of the Socialist Caucus in the Wisconsin state legislature, have been swearing up and down that, Dan, this is perfectly lawful. We're just informing people of their rights. We're just training people to go in and to help these poor, defenseless, violent, illegal, alien, criminal gangbanger thugs to know their rights. Well, it is absolutely not legal to interfere with ongoing investigations, something that now former Milwaukee County Judge Hannah Dugan learned the hard way following her felony conviction. It is interference with process. It is a form of obstruction. It is a federal crime. You cannot go where ICE is patrolling and about to serve a warrant and start screaming over a bullhorn, ICE is here, everybody get out, ICE is here. The example I use is I have a 50,000 watt megaphone on the radio. We are also streaming live via the Dano Cam at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram. Heck, we're even streaming on LinkedIn. Why? Just because I can, doggone it. We're also on the iHeartRadio app. We are everywhere. Imagine if I use this show to warn people that Milwaukee police were about to serve warrants on them. For example, John Smith over at 123 Jones Street. Watch out, buddy. I just learned from law enforcement sources the cops are about to arrest you. You better get out of there. That's obstruction. I am aiding and abetting the target of a law enforcement investigation. That's exactly what these quote-unquote ICE observers are doing. But this woman was reportedly doing far more than just observing. According to witnesses who are now talking to citizen journalists across social media, this woman was actively trying to impede this investigation. That she was in her car, she was leading this protest caravan and trying to get in the way of ICE agents doing their jobs. Again, federal crime. What happened that was so unfortunate for her, though, is that she'll let her emotions get the better of her. When the ICE agents that she hated so much told her, hey, get out of the car, stop what you're doing, she instead tried to ram into one of the agents, and multiple video angles. I have got a slow motion video up on my social media that shows very clearly she was going right towards this agent. There is a gunshot hole. There is a bullet hole in the windshield consistent with where someone would have been shooting at this vehicle from directly in front of the vehicle, as though the vehicle was traveling directly towards them. The standard for whether or not a law enforcement officer can use deadly force is, generally speaking, whether there is an imminent risk of death or great bodily harm. A several thousand-pound SUV barreling towards you is very clearly imminent risk of death or substantial bodily harm. It's a justified shooting. All right, while we are waiting for Kirsty Nome, let's bring you. Usually we do this at 4 o'clock, but because of that exclusive story, which is now up on social media at Dan O'Donnell Show on X and Facebook, please do give it a retweet. Please do give it a share. 6 Obama basketball players viciously assaulted a Bayview boys basketball coach following the two teams' game on December 16th. They have reportedly been disciplined by MPS, but there have been no criminal charges for what essentially amounts to substantial battery. All right, time now for the Daily Trump Take.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning.
Trump just keeps winning.
It is a win for the administration.
It's also a big win for the United States.
We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
DHS Secretary Nome in Texas today gave a preliminary assessment this afternoon of what happened in Minneapolis.
It was an act of domestic terrorism. What happened, it was our ICE officers were out in an enforcement action. They got stuck in the snow because of the adverse weather that is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to push out their vehicle, and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and ram them with her vehicle. An officer of ours acted quickly and defensively shot to protect himself and the people around him. And my understanding is that she was hit and is deceased. We're continuing to gather more information, but this goes to show the assaults that our ICE officers and our law enforcement are under every single day. These vehicle rammings are domestic acts of terrorism. We're working with the Department of Justice to prosecute them as such. We will continue to protect our ICE officers and in cooperation with other law enforcement agencies as well.
Now, Noam will address the media as the federal government is essentially on standby if things go to HE double hockey sticks in Minneapolis as they did in late May, early June of 2020, following the death of George Floyd. Minnesota's governor, Tim Walz, who 2 days ago announced he would not seek a third term as governor because of the massive Somali fraud that brought a flood of ICE agents into Minneapolis. He is urging people to protest peacefully, but Minneapolis's Mayor Jacob Fry was doing the exact opposite, all but encouraging attacks against ICE with a truly shameful press conference. We here at the Dan O'Donnell Show will keep an eye on things. We'll bring you that Kirsty Noem press conference as it happens, and if there is any rioting or anything like that, we will be sure to be covering it. White House press briefing today. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt updating the press and updating the country on the situation in Venezuela.
With respect to Venezuela, the Trump administration, led by Secretary Rubio, the vice president, and the president's entire national security team, is in close correspondence with the interim authorities in Venezuela. We obviously have maximum leverage over the interim authorities in Venezuela right now, and the president has made it very clear that this is a country within the United States, the Western Hemisphere, close by the United States, that is no longer going to be sending illegal drugs to the United States of America. It's no longer going to be sending and trafficking illegal people and criminal cartels to kill American citizens as they have in the past. And the president is fully deploying his peace through strength foreign policy agenda. So we're continuing to be in close coordination with the interim authorities, and their decisions are going to continue to be dictated by the United States of America.
President Trump posted on Truth Social that Venezuela had allowed the United States access to upwards of 50 million barrels of oil. And what is the U.S. going to do with all of that oil? Why, sell it, of course, says Energy Secretary Chris Wright.
So we put that blockade on Venezuela. They're still producing oil. They can't ship it to the world. So it's in floating storage in tankers, mostly illegal, sanctioned, gray market tankers, and it's on onshore storage in Venezuela. So we are in dialogue with the Venezuelan government, saying let's work together to fix Venezuela. We got rid of the head of the gang, Nicolas Maduro and his wife. They're in prison. Work with us. Let's improve your country together. So we're going to now allow those tankers to flow, but we're going to market that crude. They fully understand this. They're a partner in doing that.
Yeah, it's hard to believe with everything that's happened today. The U.S. arrested Nicolas Maduro like 4 days ago. Seems like 4 months ago already. Now, the other big foreign policy issue that has crept up is Greenland. Leavitt, during her news briefing today, was asked by a reporter, is the president serious about potentially buying Greenland?
There have also been reports that the U.S. could potentially buy Greenland as one potential option on the table. What would such an offer look like? Is there anything monetarily you could provide, any details there?
Well, that's something that's currently being actively discussed by the president and his national security team. And I would point out that the acquisition of Greenland by the United States is not a new idea. This is something that presidents dating back to the 1800s have said is advantageous for America's national security. The president has been very open and clear with all of you and with the world that he views it in the best interest of the United States to deter Russian and Chinese aggression in the Arctic region. And so that's why his team is currently talking about what a potential purchase would look like.
On the domestic front, President Trump announced plans to issue an executive order barring companies from purchasing single-family homes. This has been something that has really spiked in recent years, and it's led to a lack of supply. Essentially, what big real estate companies or big holding companies will do is buy up a whole lot of single-family homes, usually in poorer neighborhoods, lower middle-class neighborhoods, and then they will use them as rental properties instead of reselling them and get massive amounts of profits. Well, President Trump wants to end that. Here's the report from CNBC.
We've got a new post here on social media from the President of the United States who says he is taking action to deal with inflation in home costs. The President taking to social media to say that I am immediately taking steps to ban large institutional investors from buying more single-family homes, and I will be calling on Congress to codify it. People live in homes, not corporations. I will discuss this topic, including further housing and affordability proposals and more at my speech in Davos in 2 weeks. So the president here is saying that the American dream of owning a home has gotten out of reach for too many Americans, particularly young Americans, and says he is going to take steps to block large institutional investors from buying homes.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is your daily Trump date. As we await a press conference on the latest on the situation in Minneapolis from the DHS secretary, it's worth revisiting how exactly we got to a point where you have got all sorts of left-wingers feeling empowered to just get in the way of active law enforcement investigations and strip away the politics of ICE. Strip away whatever you feel about deportations, whatever you feel about illegal immigration, whatever you feel about Trump, whatever you feel about law enforcement generally. Ask yourself this question. Is ICE a legitimate law enforcement agency of the United States? Not what you feel. Is it a duly sworn and deputized agency of the United States of America? It most certainly is. Is it able to, therefore, enforce the laws of the United States under the color of law and the color of the Constitution of this country? Yes, it very clearly is. Is it authorized as a federal agency to do so in the various jurisdictions that might be controlled by Democrat governors or mayors that disagree politically with its mission and with its very existence? Yes. Yes. This is part of this beautiful little thing we have called federalism. The federal government is authorized to conduct law enforcement operations on behalf of the federal government in various states. States cannot say, like Jacob Fry, the mayor of Minneapolis today, ICE, get the bleep out. He has no authority to do that. He has absolutely no authority. This is not like the Posse Comitatus Act or something. FBI agents can conduct law enforcement operations. ICE agents can conduct law enforcement operations in his city. He is powerless to stop them. Is detaining and deporting people for violations of federal law, and yes, it is a criminal violation of federal law to enter this country illegally. It is called unlawful entry. It is a violation. It is not a civil forfeiture. It is punishable by time in federal prison. The answer, of course, is yes. All of these things are true. Regardless of whether you like ICE, regardless of whether you think that it is a duly authorized agency, you know what, we're going to have to pause that because here is Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem to give us an update on Minneapolis.
The loss of life that we saw here in Minneapolis today. Any loss of life is a tragedy, and I think all of us can agree that in this situation it was preventable. I've spoken to the president today on the situation here on the ground. I also just got off the phone a little while ago with Governor Walz and spoke to him as well. I want to reiterate first with all of you the facts of what happened today. At 10:25 a.m. Central Time, Immigration and Customs Enforcement were carrying out lawful operations here in Minneapolis. Because of the adverse weather that Minneapolis has seen in recent snow, one of the vehicles became stuck and ensnared in the snow. Law enforcement were attempting to push out this vehicle, and when a mob of agitators that were harassing them all day began blocking them in, shouting at them, and impeding impeding law enforcement operations. ICE officers and agents approached the vehicle of the individual in question, who was blocking the officers in with her vehicle, and she had been stalking and impeding their work all throughout the day. ICE agents repeatedly ordered her to get out of the car and to stop obstructing law enforcement, but she refused to obey their commands. She then proceeded to weaponize her vehicle, and she attempted to run a law enforcement officer over. This appears as an attempt to kill or to cause bodily harm to agents, an act of domestic terrorism. The ICE officer, fearing for his life and the other officers around him and the safety of the public, fired defensive shots. He used his training to save his own life and that of his colleagues. He was treated at a local hospital, has been released, and is now with family. I encourage the American people at this point in time to pray for him, but also to pray for the deceased's family and her loved ones. Today alone in this country, there have been 4 different domestic terrorist attacks on federal officers by the ramming of vehicles. 3 of them happened here in Minneapolis. We've seen over 100 of these vehicle rammings happen in just recent weeks, and this must stop. ICE alone is facing a 1,300% increase in assaults against them and an 8,000% increase in death threats against all of them. In fact, the very same officer who was attacked today had previously been dragged by an anti-ICE rioter who had rammed him with a car and drug him back in June. He sustained injuries at that time as well. And let me remind you why we're all here in this city today and why we've been here. In communities across this country and here in Minneapolis, we're just enforcing the laws that we have in this country. For years under President Biden, tens of millions of dangerous criminal illegal aliens, terrorists, and suspected terrorists were allowed to invade our country over our southern border. They were allowed to steal, to defraud, and to perpetuate violence against American citizens. Regardless of who your mayor or who your governor is, President Trump promised every single American that he would make America safe again. He promised every single American that he would work to protect them from dangerous criminals. Since Governor Walz has been in charge of Minnesota, we have seen homicides go up by over 50%. That's also during Mayor Frye's tenure as well. Since President Trump took office, Governor Walz has released over 470 violent criminals back onto the streets here in Minneapolis. He has another 680 of them still within his jurisdiction that he could give to us today to face the consequences for their crimes. Because Governor Walz and Mayor Frye refuse to protect Minnesotans and instead they protect these criminals, that's why we are here. And we didn't just show up yesterday, we've always been here. But we're surging operations because of the dangerous situation we see in this country and because we're no longer going to allow illegal criminals to damage and harm, to kill, to sexually abuse, to proliferate drugs, and to steal American taxpayers' dollars. This state has faced unprecedented immigration fraud. It's seen unprecedented benefit fraud. Individuals were allowed to come into this country and set up fake companies and fake nonprofits and divert billions of dollars away from American citizens and those vulnerable citizens who truly needed the services from those programs. This city has burned before, and your mayor and your governor let it happen. President Trump is not going to let that happen. He and our federal law enforcement officers are here to bring peace and to bring public safety and to ensure that criminal activity is stopped and that people who perpetuate it will face consequences. Since we have been here in recent weeks, we have arrested over 1,500 criminals off of the streets. Our law enforcement has arrested murderers, known and suspected terrorists, child pedophiles, and other brutal criminals that were protected here in this city. We should all work together to protect our citizens. We should all protect the men and the women and the families who live here in Minneapolis, who live in Minnesota, and live throughout this entire country. I want to thank you for being here, and I want to thank you for focusing on the important work that our federal officers do and make sure that we're focused on the priorities of this country, and that's making sure that we're keeping people safe. With that, I'll take any questions that you may have.
Secretary, Mayor Frye called the claims of self-defense BS. How do you respond to that?
I say that he doesn't know what he's talking about. It's very clear that this individual was harassing and impeding law enforcement operations. Our officer followed his training, did exactly what he's been taught to do in that situation, and took actions to defend himself and defend his fellow law enforcement officers.
Secretary, can you expand too on the agent's injuries? The president said that he's lucky to be alive.
The officer was hit by the vehicle. She hit him. He went to the hospital. A doctor did treat him. He has been released, but he's going to spend some time with his family.
Can you clarify whether he was hit before or after the gunshot was fired?
I can't, but the FBI will continue the investigation and release more facts when it's appropriate.
Secretary, no, has the agent been relieved of his duty, or can you give us any other?
No, we're following the standard protocol procedures we do in situations like this. When there's an officer-involved shooting, we make sure that we get the facts and that we are getting the statements from everybody involved and make sure that investigators are handling the decisions.
Secretary, now have ICE operations paused because of what happened today?
No, we're still out on the streets doing our work to get dangerous criminals off of the streets of Minneapolis.
Can you tell us any insight into your conversation with the governor?
You know, Tim and I have known each other for years. We served in Congress together. We both ran for governor the same year and have served as governor at the same times. So we were colleagues, and we discussed what happened here today. We have two very different viewpoints of it. I talked specifically about the fact that we have laws. They need to be enforced. He knows that I believe sanctuary policies have protected criminals and placed a priority of them over the citizens that live here, and he knows we'll continue to do our work, and I encouraged him to work with us. We've never had a cooperative arrangement with law enforcement here. Whenever we've done investigations, whenever we've done police work, when we've been doing what we can to bring people to justice for the crimes that they commit, we haven't had the cooperation of the state of Minnesota or the city police here under the mayor's direction. If you talk to any of these federal law enforcement officers, they'll say that when they call for backup in a situation, that it's hit and miss. They were grateful today that the police chief and local law enforcement showed up at the scene and helped secure it to make sure that nobody was harmed and that the FBI could do their work. But I would encourage them to work with us, that we could form a partnership that would make sure that individuals have the opportunity to have a safe Minneapolis.
Secretary, will body
Over here.
Do you stand behind the use of force, and will any of those use of force guidelines be altered or changed in the future?
You know, it's clearly established law that a vehicle driven by a person and used to harm someone is a deadly weapon. Deadly force is perfectly lawful when a threat is faced by a weapon. So I do believe that this officer used his training in this situation, and we'll let the FBI continue the investigation to get it resolved.
So just to be clear, the shooting happened before or after the vehicle hit the officer?
I know you keep asking that, but that doesn't mean that the FBI is going to give you an answer today. There will be an investigation. We want to make sure that it's factual. What I would ask is that as we go forward from here today, that we all remember that our job is to have peaceful discussions. I'd encourage our local law enforcement and state law enforcement to work with us. We are going to continue to operate here in Minneapolis and in the state of Minnesota to make sure we're going after dangerous criminals. One of the key focuses that we've had here is a focus on individuals who are sexual predators and are involved in child exploitation. When I was just here yesterday, we arrested individuals who were charged with criminal assault and sexual assault and people that exploited children. Why would you want to keep them on your streets? President Trump has promised to go after the worst of the worst, and that's exactly what we're doing in Minneapolis. By not working with us, Governor Walz and Mayor Fry are putting those criminals and prioritizing them over our children and our grandchildren.
Governor Walz said that he is not going to give any heads up when there is going to be.
And that's simply not true. He said that to me on the phone too, so I'll get him the documentation that he needs so that he knows that we would love to coordinate with him. He doesn't give us access to any information on criminals, let us know who he's detained, doesn't honor our detainers, and has individuals and criminals in his jurisdiction that he won't turn over us today too. Yes.
You mentioned that the officer involved today was once before raped by a vehicle. Can you explain the difference between that instance and today? Was a firearm discharged then? If not, what was the big difference?
I won't speak to that case right now, but we can get you the details and the information on that. But the facts of the matter is he's an experienced officer. He's been in situations like this before, and he certainly has been out there and followed his training today.
Given the threat of vehicle encounters, are you going to change the way they sit?
people need to stop using their vehicles as weapons.
Are you going to change
This domestic act of terrorism to use your vehicle to try to kill law enforcement officers is going to stop. And I'm asking the Department of Justice to prosecute it as domestic terrorism because it's clear that it's being coordinated. People are being trained and told how to use their vehicles to impede law enforcement operations and then to run over anybody who gets in their way while they go out there and try to disrupt peace and public safety. And Americans deserve better.
So can you say why they were in the National Guard?
That hasn't been a part of the discussion. I know Governor Walz mentioned some of that earlier in his press conference, but we've got law enforcement officers here that will continue to work, and we're hopeful that the public recognizes that the work that we do every day makes America safe again.
Can you get insight into the operation that was happening at 34th and Portland?
We had law enforcement officers that were out there doing an enforcement action, and a vehicle got stuck in the snow, and so they had called for other people to come and help them get that vehicle out. Those officers were trying to free the vehicle when the harassment started, when the protesters were out there impeding their vehicles and preventing them from leaving the scene.
Was it at a particular home or business in that intersection?
I won't speak to that.
Can you speak to the crime that person may be committed that you were going after? And you mentioned sexual crime. Okay. Will body camera footage be released?
I will let the FBI decide.
Were they on target today when they were in that neighborhood?
They were returning back to headquarters, I believe, to start a new operation, had just completed one.
Was it an ICE?
Well, thank you. What's that?
Was it an ICE vehicle that had?
I was one of the vehicles that ICE officers were using. But remember, when we operate in a task force model. So we have other federal agencies that work with us, and we're very grateful for that. We have CBP officers, the FBI, DEA, ATF, all of those all work with us every day in a task force model, and we appreciate it. We'd love to have the state police, and we'd also love to have the Minneapolis police chief and his team be alongside of us while we're out there doing those enforcement operations. With that, we'll get you more information as it is revealed, but thank you and everybody. Let's work together to make sure that we can continue to help the city be safer, get more criminals off the streets, and ensure that our public has the opportunity to pursue the American dream in a city they can be proud of.
All right, that is DHS Secretary Kirstie Noem updating the public on the situation in Minneapolis. We're going to step aside for a break. Back with more in just a second here on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
From the place you want to go, Lynch McGuanago Traffic Center.
Ongoing construction continues to slow you 94 eastbound between the Zoo and 68th Street. Your westbound delays through the roadwork are from 16th over to Mitchell Boulevard. I'm Kevin Henry, and that's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Taking a Walk Podcast.
I'm Buzz Knight, host of the Taking a Walk podcast. Step with us into the world of music. I bring you up-close conversations with new and legendary musicians. For one of the best music interview podcasts, listen to Taking a Walk on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Here's why. Injured? It is about the money. I'm attorney Victor Harding of Warshevsky. If you're injured, the Warshevsky personal injury firm will make the defendants pay your damages and compensate your loss for the rest of your life. Some very well-known advertising lawyers are afraid to go to trial. They can hang out with football players and put on a brave face, but the insurance companies know when they have a patsy. Make no mistake, who your attorney is can have a greater impact on the result of your personal injury case than even the facts of your case. I vow Warshevsky will prepare to win your case at trial from the moment we take the case. Warshevsky will see to it that your interests are protected now and for the rest of your life. I measure Warshevsky's accomplishments in the hundreds of successful outcomes and judgments that were so punitive to wrongdoers, whole industries have changed the way they do business. Injured? It is about the money. Warshevsky.com, 414-276-4970.
Happy New Year. Dan here for my friends at locally and family-owned Built Right Furniture. Built Right's New Year's sale is held over. Now is the time to refresh your home. Built Right has the largest selection of affordable, better quality furniture and mattresses. Built Right saves you money. Voted best place to shop and now open 5 days to shop. Tuesday through Saturday, Sunday, and Monday will be closed to be with family and friends. Tell them Dan sent you to Built Right, 54th and Layton in Greenfield.
Seasonal pricing, frozen ground, dormant diseases and insects make winter a great time to have undesirable trees removed. A Tons of Trees movement. 262-443-4995. CUTNGOtrees.com.
Dan here for Old Fashioned Roofing. No gimmicks, no shortcuts, just good old-fashioned Wisconsin values. It's where a handshake still matters. Call them today at 262-229-8909 or visit oldfashionedroofing.com.
Make News Talk 1130 WISN your number one preset on our free iHeartRadio app. Powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call, that's all.
iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for music and radio. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
Stay informed all day, every day on News Talk 1130 WISN.
Just got a text from loyal listener and great friend of the show, Jay, who is also actually a very personal friend, a very good personal friend, and my assistant coach on our girls' soccer team. What he said. No, not the Jay we know, producer Armin. Although I think you've met this Jay. No, not Jay Weber. It's not Jay Weber. No. Although, wouldn't that be funny if all of a sudden, now that he's up, Jay just starts texting, like live fact-checking me. It's like, Dan, here's what I would have said. No, we wish Jay all the best in his retirement from daily radio. A reminder, the Jay Weber podcast comes online whenever Jay feels like it. He's a retired guy now. Man, I'm envious of him. You know, he's only 15 years older than me. He's already retired. What do you think management would do if I came to them at the end? Guys, I'm under contract for like the next 4 years. They weren't stupid. They locked me up for like 5-6 years, something like that, when I took over the afternoon slot. If I came to them and said, yeah, you know, even though I have 3 kids about to start college, and I have a daughter, so I'm going to have to pay for a wedding, and I just built a house. Yeah, I'd like to retire and just do a daily podcast. What would you guys say? Armin, hey, I know you used to be working on that sports station, but guess what? You're the new afternoon host. You're going to be like Marco. You know what Armin is? Armin is at this station. He is the Marco Rubio of iHeartMedia Milwaukee. He's producing the Dan O'Donnell Show. Now, good looking. He's a good looking Hispanic fellow. No, he's an Armenian fellow. He's a good looking, suave, loves drinking water. No, he's basically running 920, the big 9. Do we still call it the big 920? I'm so behind. I get no memos on anything. Fox Sports 920. He's going to be running that. He's also producing my show. He's, I don't know, doing some light janitorial work. In any event, my friend Jay actually took the words right out of my mouth after listening to that Kirsty Noem press conference. It is so refreshing that Trump has people who will not take BS from the media and fight back immediately. Jay, I was thinking the exact same thing. When this reporter was trying to push this narrative 3 different times, she said, look, I know you keep asking that. You're not going to get an answer here. The FBI is going to investigate this. I was actually thinking, man, and Kirsty Noem was, remember with the whole dog thing, she said she had to shoot her dog like Old Yeller. Of course, she was taken to task in the media and she was seen as something of a lightweight. I have been nothing but impressed by her as DHS secretary. It's a big, big job, especially given President Trump's focus on securing the border and the mass deportation effort. It has been nothing short of a phenomenal success. And unfortunately, you have people like, well, the people in this montage we put together. I've been playing this for, 4 months now, 5 months now. Democrats literally inciting people to do exactly what this crazy woman in Minneapolis did. Apparently, she is now officially identified, the deceased, Renee N. Good, G-O-O-D. She is white. She is apparently originally from Virginia. They've already got an interview with her mother. Says she wasn't part of any anti-ICE group. Oh, okay, Mom. But you have got Democrats like this saying things like this to rile up people precisely like this poor woman who was killed today.
Donald Trump's modern-day Gestapo is scooping folks up off the streets.
I called ICE the modern-day Gestapo.
This is not Germany. That's the SS and the Gestapo.
We're seeing aggressive Gestapo-type tactics.
When I see ICE, I see slave patrols.
We have ICE federal agents pulling up, terrorizing our communities, hopping out of unmarked vans, stealing and, yes, kidnapping people.
ICE is a terrorist organization. It needs to be defunded. It needs to be abolished.
What can you possibly say to that? And then you have got today, you got the mayor of Minneapolis, who less than 6 years ago, his city burned because of complete misinformation about the death of George Floyd. And he's out there saying crap like this.
They are not here to cause safety in this city. What they are doing is not to provide safety in America. What they are doing is causing chaos and distrust. They're ripping families apart. They're sowing chaos on our streets. And in this case, quite literally killing people.
I'm sorry. And I know I'm probably going to get in trouble for this. The only way to describe Jacob Fry is a bitch. He is an honest-to-God bitch. Every time I see his bitch face, that's all I can think. What an absolute bitch. You're listening to the apparently R-rated. Now, it just ticks me off that these people talk like this. Dan O'Donnell Show, coming right back.
Ongoing construction continues to slow you 94 eastbound between the Zoo and 68th Street. Your westbound delays through the roadwork are from 16th over to Mitchell Boulevard. I'm Kevin Henry, and that's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Taking a Walk Podcast.
I'm Buzz Knight, host of the Taking a Walk podcast. Step with us into the world of music. I bring you up-close conversations with new and legendary musicians. For one of the best music interview podcasts, listen to Taking a Walk on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
So if you're in the market to buy or sell a home right now, every detail means dollars, and who you hire to negotiate your home, that really matters. Hey, Sean Hannity here, and as an active investor who invests in real estate all across the great country of ours, I want the best negotiator representing my interests. I'm talking about Justin Hoffman with RE/MAX Lakeside. They can help you navigate through multiple cash offers, and more importantly, he has turned complicated situations into 5-star reviews. Now check out his rave reviews on Google. Talk to him yourself. If you are on trial with big money at stake, you would want a seasoned negotiator with thousands of victories if they will take you on and you can afford them, right? Well, your home deserves the best representation. See how much demand your home can command in this market right now and get the best representation that you deserve. Just go to wihomeeval.com. That's wihomeeval.com. Or just Google Team Hoffman and check out over 700 5-star reviews.
Men deserve care that works. At Apex Men's Health, every treatment is backed by science and overseen by physicians. Whether you're dealing with ED, low testosterone, or weight challenges, Apex delivers personalized solutions that get results. Call Apex Men's Health now or visit apexmenscare.com. That's apexmenscare.com. Apex Men's Health, built for men, backed by science.
Is it time to buy an engagement ring?
Or a big anniversary diamond?
Kessler's has diamonds that come from diamond mines.
And we also have diamonds that come from plasma chambers.
When you see the size of the diamond you can afford when you look at our high-tech newborn created diamonds,
you're going to be happy, happy, happy.
And with approved credit, our financing plans make anything possible.
Our selection of engagement rings is beyond compare.
And our custom design department can modify any ring in any way you choose.
Anyone who says they can give you a better ring
or a better diamond
or a better price
has never been to Kessler. Kessler's.
And our miraculous no small print warranty says,
If you bought it at Kessler's, it's guaranteed.
It's just that simple.
And all maintenance is free forever.
No charge.
yes, it really is that miraculous.
You found a partner you want to share your life with.
When you're ready to celebrate,
we've got a diamond for that.
Find the Kesslers nearest you at KesslersDiamonds.com.
Jay, can Comer and Cross restore my garage floor in the wintertime? Yeah, they can. In fact, it's the best home improvement you can do this winter. And now is the time to call. Comer and Cross has a preseason sale going on. Right now, you'll get a phenomenal price on that gleaming new garage floor, and they'll install it when you want it done. Pick the date. Even in the wintertime, Comer and Cross makes it so easy. They'll take all the stuff out of your garage for you and can store it on site, no worries. And what follows is a 6-step gold standard process that they guarantee means you will never need to redo your garage floor again. It's guaranteed to never chip, crack, or show tire lift, ever. This process is so great that it will even make it easier to get all of the winter road grime and runoff cleaned out in spring. I can just use a garden hose and maybe a little broom action, and my floor is right back to brilliant. Call 262-788-6430 or go to comercross.com to get started. Get a phenomenal price now and dictate when you'd like it done. 262-788-6430, 262-788-6430, or go to comercross.com.
Welcome back to Ask Hasselus.
What's the secret to your success?
Clean living, hard work, and no employees.
No employees?
At Hasselus, give our mattresses a try with no pushy sales guy.
Nobody breathing down my neck?
Plus, way low prices, free next day delivery, and through Monday, get a free box spring or $300 off an adjustable base with the purchase of any queen or king size Beauty Rest or Sealy Posturepedic mattress.
You could say Hasselus is an overnight success.
Hasselus.com.
Dan Voss from Cut & Go here. At the end of this commercial, I'm finally going to release our phone number. Unbelievably, demand has helped Cut & Go amass a fleet of 5 cranes to handle raw tonnage of volume. We just added 2 more of our amazing remote-controlled truck-mounted articulated crane grapple saw tree removal trucks to our fleet. Seasonal pricing, frozen ground, less materials to haul, and disease and insects that don't spread during winter dormancy. Call Cut & Go, 262-443-4995, or pick your preferred service at cutngotrees.com. Cut & Go safely in very organized fashion brings down trees for you to clean up at your leisure, or with Chip & Go service, we chip the limbs as they come down, or our premium full cut cleanup and removal, virtually levitating the tree off your property as it comes down. Call 262-443-4995. A Tons of Trees movement. cutngotrees.com. That's cutngotrees.com.
Injured? Call Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Flash back to the countdowns you grew up with on Classic American Top 40.
I'm Casey Kasem.
One channel with countdowns from the 70s and 80s.
Hits from coast to coast.
And another from the 90s and 2000s.
The smaller the numbers, the bigger the hits.
All commercial free. Relive the stories behind the songs with Classic American Top 40.
Keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars.
Search Casey Kasem and make these your next presets.
iHeartRadio.
Rioters have apparently broken into the federal courthouse in downtown Minneapolis, screaming, "ICE out now." This does not bode well for tonight. Now, look, I'm just going to be completely honest with you folks here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. The woman who is killed, Renee N. Good, is white. I'm not sure the riot crowd can get worked up into a lather like they did with George Floyd when there isn't that racial component to this. Now, if she was Latina, if she was black, Minneapolis is already burning. That is a sad reality and a sad comment, but it's 15 degrees out in Minneapolis right now. I just don't think these people don't have the same juice. They don't have the same fire in their belly that they did back in 2020 during the golden era of the woke riot age. That said, I am going to continue to monitor the situation. We will hop back on the air on all of our stations if need be. If the situation doesn't quite warrant that, I've got no problem doing a live stream. Maybe we'll watch everything together, do a Q&A. I'll be completely honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, even a big-time commentator, investigative reporter, radio personality also has to help his wife carry boxes of Christmas decorations back down to the basement. So that's what I'm going to need to do, and pick up his daughter from soccer practice. So in between that, don't hate me if I can't do a live stream, but I am planning on staying up late just to see if there are riots, if there is anything that needs to be covered, especially if there's anything that pops off in Milwaukee or any other cities. This is not for a lack of desire, folks. And listening to the press conference, especially from Jacob Fry, this is what a big segment of the political and media left want. They want open rebellion in the streets against Donald Trump and his supposed Nazi brown shirts of ICE. And they're about to get it. I fear they are about to get it. We've got to take one more break before we close up shop. You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show. It is conservative thought and not just talk.
43 northbound gotten much better, just slow from Center to Burleigh. Southbound still very heavy, though, from north down to the Marquette. Westbound 94 slammed through the roadwork 27 to Mitchell Boulevard, and eastbound from the Zoo to 68th. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by the White House Briefing Room Podcast with John Decker.
I'm John Decker. Join me weekdays for 15 minutes of no-spin White House coverage straight from the press briefing room. Subscribe now to the White House Briefing Room on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Total Health's Jay Johnson, the Falls and New Berlin. Seed oils, the number one source of calories in American diets, developed as engine fuel and industrial lubricants, only ended up in the food supply for profit. Seed oils cause arthritis, heart disease, metabolic syndrome, stroke, type 2 diabetes, obesity, cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure, and chronic illness. Medical doctors prescribe dozens of pharmaceuticals for life to treat symptoms of those diseases. Why don't they tell you to stop consuming poison? I'll tell you why. You sick is profitable. At Total Health, we teach eliminating seed oils from your diet improves true health and how you feel. Total Health finds the root cause of your fatigue, weight gain, brain fog, sleeplessness, then works with you, the whole you, eliminating symptoms and the chronic disease causing those symptoms. It's not theory. Relativity equals expertise plus execution is true. Total Health's holistic practitioners utilize proven science to help you feel and truly be the most healthful and well you. TotalHealthInc.com. That's TotalHealthInc.com.
Your clear choice for more. Lisbon Storm Screen and Door. Here for you all year round. Lisbon Storm Screen and Door. From our family to your family. Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Hi, this is David Wilhelm, third-generation owner of Lisbon Storm Screen and Door. When you've been selling and installing windows locally for over 50 years, it's easy to point out a quality product. And that's why we carry Marvin windows, in more color and size combinations than anyone. Marvin windows offer unparalleled value with craftsman-quality construction and energy-efficient technology that assure your investment is a sound one. Marvin windows, built around you. Find the area's most extensive selection of Marvin windows at your clear choice for more. Lisbon Storm Screen and Door. Find us at lisbonstorm.com.
Your clear choice for more. Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Save on your next project, now at Menards. For softer skin and cleaner clothes, shop our great selection of water softeners. Morton's Wi-Fi integration allows for tracking and alerts, which puts you in control of your water while at home or away. Morton's look-ahead technology learns and predicts your water needs, saving you money. Save on Morton water softeners. And don't forget to check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards. Blue Mountain Express.
This is Rick Vanderboom with Blue Mountain Express Moving and Storage, and we'll improve your move.
BlueMountainExpress.com. We will improve your move.
Blue Mountain Express Moving and Storage, statewide.
Is it currently snowing in your hallway?
Or maybe your upstairs is a sauna while your basement is a skating rink.
If your heating and cooling system is confused, call the experts at Capital.
We'll replace that old crotchety clunker of a system with a brand new factory fresh heating and cooling system and save you $1,000.
That's $1,000 off a total comfort system.
Give your home the upgrade it deserves. Capital will turn brrr into ah.
Call CapitalCares.com.
Dan here for Old Fashioned Roofing. No gimmicks, no shortcuts, just good old-fashioned Wisconsin values. It's where a handshake still matters. Call them today at 262-229-8909 or visit oldfashionedroofing.com.
Jay here. Having remodeled several homes over the years, I know that a great glass shower door can turn a routine bathroom into a spectacular space. And I have not found a better line of glass shower doors and options than at Bob's Glass in Waukesha. Bob's Glass is an unassuming building from the street, and they have a showroom to give you some ideas, but Bob's secret is its people and their experience. They'll give you options and advice and will genuinely meet your needs and expectations. No cookie cutter, prefab, flimsy nonsense. It's a family-owned company that does great work. See bobs-glass.com.
Higher design, higher style. Hire Wisconsin Kitchen Mart.
40 years ago, being informed was about reading the newspaper and watching the nightly news. Now, with information coming at you at the speed of light, being truly informed is a complex proposition, a more comprehensive process. At WISN, our show hosts frame stories, issues, and topics with both facts and unique analysis, and that leaves you with a richer understanding of the world around you. It's the perfect blend of information and insight. Stay informed all day, every day. On WISN.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as we just have about 2 minutes or so here on the Dan O'Donnell Show, at least the planned Dan O'Donnell Show for this evening. As I said, I will be back either on the air or via stream on social media at Dan O'Donnell Show if events warrant, if there's rioting or anything like that. I will be there to cover it. We can all sleep easy, though. The Milwaukee Common Council has weighed in on the ICE shooting in a completely different city, issuing a joint statement condemning it. I don't even know if I have the strength to read this. The levels of cringe are just beyond my comprehension. And also the fact that they apparently do not know how to format a press release. It is in size like 6 font. We stand in solidarity with the family of the victim, the Minneapolis community, and support the calls for a full and transparent investigation into the incident. We remain committed to policies that prioritize public safety, dignity, and justice for all residents. How about you condemn trying to run over an ICE agent in the middle of the street, you absolute useless hacks. All right, on that note, I know you were waiting for I'm just waiting for like Voces de la Frontera here in Milwaukee to weigh in. I'm sure they already have. On that note, we are going to wrap it up back tomorrow with another big exclusive story on the judicial elections coming up this spring. You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show.
All programs